Okay. Why does that not... Ah, right, okay, I need to do that. Aha! I think that works. Yeah. No! OBS, could you just go over there, please? Please. Please, just disappear. No? Oh, you're not going to make me see that. Oh, what if I did that? Yeah, there we go. Oh, God. Wow, there's a delay on this. Oh, God. This is not going well. Right. It's really weird if I actually view this by looking at the thing. Right, I'm going to do it like this. Hello, everyone. This is me reading this whole article right now. I can't hear myself because if I hear myself, I'm going to like go, oh no, I can hear myself on like a 60-second delay. It's very, very strange. I don't like it very much. Yeah. Right. So, let's go through what's actually going to happen here. I'm going to read all of this article right here. All of it. The whole thing. All 19,019 words. All of them. Pretty crazy that I'm going to be doing this. So last time I read a 10,000 word article that Kevin of Sakugabowl and a bunch of his friends, no, I think it was just Libo actually, little Libo, yeah, read out. Just read their article on the state of autumn anime in 2022. Well, guess what? It's now January the 1st, 2023. And here I am, sitting with the family, and then all of a sudden he releases the article. So it is now, what would it be, 26 to 11, local time here, UK time. I have no idea how long this is going to go on for. And do you know what? Hopefully you all like this. If you think people would like to hear a bloke struggle to read this article, please share it around. I'd love to have lots of people watch along. I can see the chat. Thank God. It's really funny. This is my first live stream. I've only just worked this out now. So hopefully this works. Hopefully you can see me scrolling up and down, up and down. Yeah, again, there is a delay. So if you do say something to me, you're probably commenting on something I've said like a minute ago. So I will try and address chat while the reading is going on, if anything interesting pops up. So we'll see how it goes. Another thing to mention, I haven't actually watched any anime from 2022 apart from Delicious Party Precure and a little bit of Pokemon Journeys. I don't know how much of it is up to episode 92. That's how far I got. Don't know how far into 2022 that was, but Precure's all I watched last year. So a lot of these shows I've only heard from people I know. So we'll see how that one goes. Okay. But without further ado, let's start reading this article. I'm going to do it. I had music, but do you know what? I think that would distract from the sound of my voice. So you're just going to get me. All right? So hopefully you can all hear me well, and we shall begin. Right, so Oh, by the way, I've got some water here, just in case I end up having to need it. 750ml should be perfect for this. Anyway, I'm just delaying the inevitable. Right, Sakugabowl Animation Awards 2022. January the 1st, 2023. Kevin, one comment. Yeah, we're really early on, so there's only one comment here. This is also... Actually, do you know what? Let me just keep reading. It's time for a final look at the greatest animated works of 2022. We've gathered commercial and independent animators, directors, designers, writers, musicians, and everything in between to share their favourite works of the year in the Sakugabowl Animation Awards 2022. Welcome to the Sakugabowl. The Sakugabowl has actually been around for about 10 years now, I think it is. Yeah, 10 years they've been doing this. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, let's have a look at the entries. Now, Kevin decided to, it was all hyperlinked. I'm not using those. I'm just going to read it all. So we got entries. Takuya Ninuma. Apparently, they're an animator. Guess people like them, probably. We have Fede, who is that guy who now does a lot of translation work for foreign animators. We have Geff, good guy. I like Geff. Geff's good. Oh, right. Who the heck is the fourth one? Right. Let me get my hiragana guide. Right. Hold on. I'll do it. Why did he write it like that? Who is that? Chart. Aha. Right. Hold on. Do you know what? I should have actually, revised my hiragana before reading this because, I know what they're like. They're like, you know what? We're going to write... That's a na, that last one. What's that last one? China. Oh, it's that person. Oh, cool. Right. It's China. Right. So China is the fourth one. That's the Yamasusu person. Good person. We got AJ, who's another British person. We got Ken Yamamoto. They've got a leaf in their name. They're a Canadian guy. We got Futon. We got Dandiest. We got... How the heck did he have time to do this? Kerorira's on this. Wow, okay. I wonder what anime he's going to like. Oh, yeah, we got Yuki. Yuki's in chat. Hello, Yuki. Woo! Yuki's in chat. So, bugger when we get to her section. We got Natasha, who is a writer, blog writer, and writer for websites on anime. Has been writing about anime for years, even back when I was just starting out on Twitter. We got Franziska van Wolfen, who is a animator, VTuber, illustrator extraordinaire. And we've got the man himself, Kevin. Saving the best till last. Of course. Oh, wow. Everyone is in chat. We've got actually several people who have written things here in chat. Hello. We got Fede here as well. Oh, boy. It's going to be great getting to your section next. After I read this guy. Takuya Ninuma. I don't know this guy. Sorry. Apologies to all the people that do know this guy. But I am very good right now. But I gotta read this guy. Right, so Takuya Ninuma, animator, shading genius. There's a Twitter link. I'll have to follow him later. And we got a Sakugaboru tag. Woo! The best episode is Bocce the Rock episode 4. Bocce the Rock episode 4 stands out as one episode where I particularly like the storyboarding and direction. There are a lot of small visual devices that I enjoyed, such as Bocchi shaking her head at the start, Nijika chasing Ryo in a circle, making finger frames for the band press shot, and pantomiming a wall. From Akira Hamaguchi-san's party animal Bocchi to Toshiyuki Sato-san's Tsuchinoko sequence, the blasts of animation are perfectly timed to help liven things up. The episode begins with a cold open, with Ryo and a guitar playing, and I like how later, when Bocchi finishes the lyrics and shows them to the other band members, the scene changes again, with the same guitar playing more deftly. There's a lot more I could say, but I'll be paying attention to future work of Keiichiro Saito-san, the chief director, and Nobuhide Kariya-san, the episode director. Best show, Bocchi the Rock. Oh yeah, that seems about right. I'll refrain from going too much into technical details because, quite frankly, there are so many magnificent elements at Bocchi the Rock's craftsmanship level that defy description. But it's no surprise that wonderfully talented people, lovingly committing their energy, would create a splendid anime. To see the world take notice and acknowledge it to the extent it has makes me realise the significance of collective effort that builds upon the strengths of people in each individual department. And it seems to me that everyone, including the production staff, original creators, and the viewers, have been influenced positively by their experience with Bocchi the Rock. It's a magnificent work whose anime production itself tangibly impressed upon me for the first time how making anime can create such irreplaceable value. Bocchi the Rock accomplishes a tremendous level of perfection, propped up by Kerorira and Keiichiro Saito-san's extraordinary workload. And while it's obvious that the acumen of the chief director and chief animation director would play a large role in the fate of a work, Bocchi the Rock drove that point home like no other production. Not bad. Right, best movie, Where the Wind Blows link. I guess there's a link to some YouTube thing. The Ado thing. Oh, cool. Anyway, Megumi Ishitani-san and Soti-san, Keisuke Mori, always do such spectacular work. I always think about how Soti-san's animation is so deliberate and beautiful at the key animation stage, and the timing is satisfying in a way that is unequaled. All of this is amplified in a cell-dominant MV that is euphoric. A wonderful work filled with elegance and decorum, and every time I watch it, my chest swells with pride that I'm in the same line of work. The media could not be loaded, either because the server or network failed, or because the format is not supported. X. Best animation designs. Akebi Sailor Uniform, Megumi Kono. Megumi Kono-san draws proportions that take shape in a way I'd never seen before, and it feels revolutionary. Within the cuteness, there is abstractions that hint at stylishness, as well as a softness that is characteristic of Kono-san. I'm simply blown away by the deftness evident in her art. Okay, creator discovery, Tomoki Yoshikawa, Sakugabowl tag. I've known he was amazing ever since we worked together on Wonder Egg Priority and My Dress Up Darling, so I was aware of him previous to this year, but I'd like to nominate him for his spectacular work on, who guessed it, Bocchi the Rock. The parts that Yoshikawa-san animated go beyond the level of what had been provided in the storyboards and layouts, and I feel that he has the power to single-handedly make a scene and in turn the entire episode more interesting. There are plenty of people out there who are good at drawing or animating. However, there aren't many key animators out there who can single-handedly make a work more interesting, and in the most optimal way at that. Watching his work makes me want to strive to become someone like that as well. How lovely is that? Excellent. Right. Let's have a look and see what's happened in chat since I started reading. Bocchi the Sock. Wow. Yeah, Bocce the Sock. I'm going to be reading a ton of Bocce the Sock, aren't I? Oh, boy. Yeah, thanks, Hayden. And so true. Yeah, the entire thing is very true. I agree, Yuki. That was very true from Ninuma. Yeah, I would completely agree. Right, now we're going to go to Fede, a fellow Italian compatriot, except he's in Italy, as far as I'm aware, and I'm in Britain. But hey, big up the Italians. We're doing well this year. Woo. Right, so Fede is a translator, international production coordinator, and saviour of doomed projects. And you can follow him on Twitter, them on Twitter as well. Go follow there. I haven't actually. Wait, have I done that? Oh, I should probably do that later. Anyway, forget it. Right, let's move on. Nyan. There's clearly not a cat here. That is a person. Right. So let's go through this one. Best episode: Akebi Sailor Uniform Episode 7. This year clearly had no shortage of wonderfully produced TV episodes. From China and Keiichiro Saito's emotional journeys in Yama no Susume Next Summit to Gosso's bold animation fests in Osama Ranking. Wow, Osama Ranking was this year. Bloody hell. And of course, Yusuke Kawakami's ambitious performance-heavy Bocce the Rock episodes. In the end, though, I really ended up enamoured by Moang's directorial debut in Akebi's Sailor Uniform Episode 7. Akebi is a series that was able to successfully showcase the ethereal beauty of youth by meticulously focusing on details and moments of the school life of the Robai Academy students, emphasizing the external appearances of each character. This almost fetishist... Come on, mate. Come on. Fetishist... Wow. It's a bad word, and that's why I can't even pronounce it properly. Right. This almost poopy approach was completely reversed when Moang started narrating the story of the troubled Oshizu and her musical dilemma with the utmost empathy of a warm internal focus. The episode almost feels like a fantastic recollection of... Oh, God. Synesias. Deary me. Felt while listening to Erika's piano and Oshizu's guitar, with so many small colouring and lens adjustments to carefully balance almost every shot. Bocce did also something very similar with Sick Hack's performance in episode 10. But there, You're doing it again. Poopy aspect almost felt like borrowing visual elements of psychedelic culture to smack on screen, and while here I sensed something more ambitious in its vision and execution, something personal and solemn that clearly took an incredible amount of time to conceptualize and supervise from start to finish. It became without any doubt the kind of episode that not only you totally watch without prior context, but also the kind of quality highlight able to misguide you in perceiving the full series and already phenomenal production in a totally different light. Taishi Kawakami's supervision was also able to synergize splendidly with the direction, anticipating many of the sensible shadow-free design choices for Haruka Fujita's White Snow music video, in contrast to all his other Akebi episodes. Honourable mentions, excluding the ones above, Cyberpunk Edge Runners Episode 6, Kai Igarashi... I'm thinking of Igarashi because I'm thinking of Takuya Igarashi. That man is always on my head. Sorry. Kai Igarashi is out of control. He's going to burn the studio. Burn the studio. M-M-M-M. Mean will. Oh dear. Someone's going to have to correct that one. Mean will? Yama no Susume Next Summit Episode 12 felt like the party after the completion of an incredibly long yet unpredictable journey. The wonderful end that Yamasusu deserved. I'm not even reading that little bit out anymore. Let's get to the best show, Bocce the Rock. Yep. Let's keep doing that. Um, I know, choosing Bocce the Rock as someone involved can feel like tooting my own horn. Yeah, no kidding. But hear me out. I don't really think there was a show more important or even just overall stronger this year. I never had so much fun watching an airing TV anime, and it really gave me a more positive outlook on the future of animation. Since chances are that you already watched the series, no, I haven't, sorry. I won't focus on what makes Bocce the show so special. It's called Bocce the Rock. Anyway, but rather why Bocce as a whole ended up becoming so special, at least for me. It might sound rich after expressing my love for this series, but before this season, I strongly felt like the Bishoujo anime cute girls does cute things sphere was starting to show important signs of staleness. Sure, every now and then you have some dazzling gems able to ride the full spectrum of the emotional rollercoaster of life thanks to strong directorial vision and brilliant artistic executions, but I didn't feel like the range of what such shows are able to do was successfully challenged, maybe even in the last 10 years, not by people other than Naoko Yamada and her disciples, at least, and certainly not on a full-fledged mainstream project. The Pink Blob, however, really showed the world a new creative path towards the future of late-night anime, a route sharp and maybe a bit darker than usual, but still incredibly healing and fun. While I would give plenty of credit to Erika Yoshida and her gargantuan work in elegantly reconstructing barely 2 tankobon into a full-course series, we're clearly assisting at one of the directorial miracles of this century. No, maybe it wasn't something that magical and arbitrary as a miracle, but rather the result of tangible efforts and smarts. The hopeful and chaotic vision of Keiichiro Saito and his excellent directorial team might seem achievable just because of the incredible production muscle of the Shota Umehara team. But it is also sustained by an incredibly sleek reuse of assets and a crystal clear understanding of how to create successful visual gags with a relatively small amount of frames and sete work, if possible. He might be young, but what really makes him incredible is his ability to balance that boldness with critical thinking about what can be done and what has to be sacrificed in the day-to-day war to make TV anime. In that regard, it is safe to say that I don't really think Bocce represents the uttermost peak of technical animation, and yet it was able to reach a spot among my favourite titles of all time. Thanks to the purposefulness of its animation, it's supported by a clear vision of what was needed to feel exceptional in a season full of sharks, and within a genre where the uttermost peak of visual quality is clearly unreachable due to a way too demanding, sick industry. Don't be ashamed of being yourself, even if you don't see anyone else similar around. No matter if you're a kid Rakugaki, a stiff 3D model, or a small Tsuchinoko. You're special exactly because there's no one else like you. Hey, that's cute. I like that. That was good. Best movie, The Deer King. Oh, I like that film. Good film. I would highly recommend. Was that 2022? Wow. I know I watched it last year, but I thought it was 21. Oh well. Shows how the years have been. While I felt a little bit underwhelmed by the fast-paced narration that characterized the second half of The Deer King, I was really impressed by the portentous animation of a movie that really feels out of place in this era of TV-esque anime eiga. The most superlative showcase of that animation muscle is the scene where Van desperately tries to get back his sweet Yuna from the wolves. There's a link there if you want to see it. Clearly, the visual highlight of my year. Such an impressive blend between the sensibilities of stellar classic films and the more recent innovations when it comes to the timing and the shapes that construct the animation itself. realism, and more expressive needs, passionately making love under the full moon, baby. The world design was also really captivating. The influences of Turkish and Native American cultures were supported by two brilliantly dedicated art and prop design teams, always able to understand the full purpose of each architectural space, object, and outfit. It gave each scene a sense of identity and fostered the immersion, something that really makes a difference in fantasy works. Honourable mentions, I also really loved the comfy yet very mature atmosphere of the Eurocamp movie. While limited in animation, the backgrounds and compositing were really charming in ways that felt different yet familiar compared to the TV series. Such a graceful finale. Best opening. Wow, we're even doing those as well. Okay, right. Spy Family opening number 2. Links right here. That warm, maybe even a little bit heavy, almost Shinkai-esque compositing style was a genius approach to represent the happiest moments of the Forger family. I'm simply a sucker for sequences like Spy Family's second opening, especially so when the overabundance of Hiroshite and art books actually serves the purpose of exploring new emotional landscapes in each different cut, rather than just presenting a couple of shots in a cooler way. In particular, I really appreciated the moments of bonding between Yor and Anya. They felt incredibly precious, genuine, and seraphic. Not heard that word before. It's a new one. Compared to how the other directors of the series handled them. Good. Best ending. Spy Family ending number 1. Okay. This year had plenty of incredibly festive and cheerful endings. And while I don't really hate them, I'm still of the idea that an ending sequence should really put you to sleep happily. Totally agree. That's why aria endings are really, really good. Listen to them sometime. And Atsushi Nishigori achieved this wonderfully with his Spy Family sequence. While not at all that technically complicated, those yummy multi-planar motions and transitions help create a sense of intrigue and complicity with Anya. We're invited into her space, as she is sharing with the audience her imagination first, then her lovely daily routine in her second half. The compositing effects and general screen palette really help in creating a cozy, nightly atmosphere that felt really unique compared to most late-night anime. It managed to blend childlike sensibilities with a refined and classy look. The cutting is also immaculate, and the three-dimensionality of that design, of that animation space, really helps give each transition a level of individuality that is really difficult to experience in pure 2D full-cell animation. Oh boy, now we've got a music video. Best music video, Where the Wind Blows. Oh, that was the best movie before for Ninuma. There you go. Now we've got music videos. Narrating such a sorrowful alternative backstory for Uta should be illegal in all countries across the 4 seas and Grand Line. Yet I cannot really thank Keisuke Mori and Megumi Ishitani enough for the wonderful present. One that even people like me, who are kinda fed up with current One Piece, can fully appreciate. In fact, I think the still very One Piece-esque designs of the 2 Utas really helped in generating the illusion of adventure and romance, before brutally crushing my heart at the end of the video. These days, I'm becoming quite critical of short-form music videos. I watch a Komugiko music video, and after a few seconds, I start rambling about how I would change cut lengths and camera movement speeds until I become too negative. Yeah, my brother's kind of like that watching anime. Not to that extent, but yeah, he does that as well. I can only say the opposite for Where the Wind Blows. The more I watch it, the more I end up electrified at the thought that there are people so naturally gifted at cutting and timing as this duo, while still not really understanding how they were able to achieve such harmony. Bless them, really. The screen palette, with a flat yet powerful range of colours, perfectly complements how simple and straightforward the adventure of the two girls was till the end, despite the otherworldly emotions they experienced during that way too short journey. Honourable mentions: White Snow, Eve. Wonderful characters and world design. I hope to see more of them in the future. We got I Wanna Be Your Ghost by Hoshino Gen. Incredibly fun and sweet. Lovely camera motions and charismatic animation. And we got Kumorizora no Muko wa Hareteru. That's an approximation of pi. The ending, Wonder Egg deserved, but never had. And Horiguchi Kami, sign me in, fan. Hori is good. Right, okay, let's go to best aesthetic, do it yourself. The world design of do it yourself accomplishes the ambitious task of making the viewer question, review, and discover a wide range of different visual design styles represented in detail with great care. Children of different ways of philosophizing the process of creation and different cultures together. I can't stress enough how important such an accomplishment is in a TV series that put the individuality, skill sets, and sensibilities of their main cast at the centre of the stage. We're not just watching a do-it-yourself centered show, we're living in a world where the title of the anime has a special meaning that permeates all things as if it were a divine mandate. Okay. Honourable mentions: More Than a Married Couple But Not Lovers. I really loved how such a low-profile production was able to blend cell elements with its backgrounds on such a fundamental level, while creating such a dreamy and youthful scenery. Big props. Alright, okay. Then we got Best Animation. Good lord, there's so many awards. Best Animation Designs. It's Do It Yourself. Yusuke Matsuo. We had Best Aesthetic, and then we got Best Animation Designs. I mean, yeah. I mean, you can do that. Anyway, I don't really think there is even much competition, truth be told. Yusuke Matsuo surpassed himself, with wonderful girls whose personalities are on full display just by looking at their silhouettes. The puppy-like Yua, with her ruffled hair, canine smile, and pointy angles, is perfectly complemented by Purin's elegant, slightly wavy, and almost glossy hairstyle. The same applies to Shi's almost explosive cat-like grin and Rei's cool, calm eyes and mouth shapes. In a way, I feel like this is a coronation of his career as a designer. Not only because it's an original anime, where every character feels like his own from drafts to finished sheets, but also because he was able to combine those solid silhouettes with radically innovative visual concepts while still remaining in the classic boundaries of moe anime. Characters like Jobuko or even Rei would probably feel out of place in a less well-balanced cast of girls. Yet here, they are expanding the literal meaning of cuteness with the support of the more standard members like Purin and Takumi. The mobs are incredibly interesting too. I feel a strong retro Western animation and Ghibli influence that complements Fugo's line economy in ways that feel incredibly fresh, yet rooted enough to visual archetypes that the viewer will still find them familiar. Honourable mentions: Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury. They're also quite innovative designs, really rich in potential when it comes to the main student characters, but I feel we're a bit less convinced of the older folk, who got a way more conservative treatment. And hello there, TJ. Welcome to the chat again. If you do want to, you can share this stream to loads of other people and make them listen to my lovely voice read this all out. I am I think I'm almost done with Fede's one. Bloody hell. This is only the second person. Like, there's, like, over 10 people. And we're about half an hour in. Creator Discovery. Yusei Komoto. And there's the Sakugaboru tag right here if you want to have a gander. I admit, I'm telling a bit of a lie here. You see, last year I already contacted Yusei Komoto to work with me on a certain animation project. But at that time, he was quite busy with more important work. So you discovered him last year, but now you're saving him for this year then. Okay. I certainly saw in him strong potential as a beginner animator. But damn, and next time I hear about him, he's doing official illustration work for Yamasusu, and then he's doing animation supervision for the opening with excellent results. Something he then surpasses by supervising one of the most important episodes of the season. Talk about shattering expectations. I rarely see artists' progression at such a fast pace. I think the biggest appeal of his art lies in how the shape of chins and cheeks, as well as the general proportions of his faces, gives an electrifying blend between cuteness and coolness to almost all the characters he draws. It gives them a larger range of expressions they can perform, while still feeling incredibly attractive no matter their role or context. This innovative way of handling characters feels appropriate in an era where the range of what cute girl or a cute boy can be is expanding again, even in the animation sphere. In this sense, Hinata's mum from Yamano Susume was right up his alley because of how much of a cooler Hinata she is. In a way, that felt incredibly natural to me. In retrospect, it felt quite unique compared to the strong majority of anime mums, starting with the ones in this same series. On paper, a beginner Sakan handling such an important character seemed like a gamble, but now that I'm fully aware of his capabilities as a supervisor, it was clearly the right, no-brainer choice. I can't wait to see what the future holds for Yusei. I really hope he will be able to thrive not only as a supervisor, but also as a fully fledged designer. Honourable mentions. What to even say about Kerorira? I may have known the guy for around 4 to 5 years, but damn, I didn't expect him to essentially become an animation studio on his own. When I get around to making my Salome Ojo-sama music video, I definitely want him on my side. I think you're talking about that one VTuber that's the million one. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that guy. That one. Right. Okay. Wow, finally finished that one. Whoa. Right. We're on the third one. Ugh. I really feel like I am climbing Mount Fuji right now. Bloody hell. Oh. What's that announcement on Geth server? Oh, that's cool. I'm sure that's important. Speaking of Geth server, here is Geth. Hello. And he is still purple. Do follow on Twitter as well. Geth's awesome. So please do follow. Right. Hopefully this one ain't too long. I'm not. It probably is. It probably is really long. Best episode, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, episode 6. Oh, finally, something that isn't botchy. Sorry to all the botchy fans, but, you know, I'm going to be reading a lot about botchy in this. Take what I can get. Picking just one best episode of the year is never easy, but the current fall season has made sure to crank up the difficulty, with worthy candidates coming out of the woodwork on a weekly basis. Among the notable standouts, there's the 8th episode of Mob Psycho 100 Season 3, which saw the return of Hakuyu Go for an experience completely perpendicular in flavour to his previous contribution, but no less special. This season's trinity of comfy, creator-driven anime in Yamano Susume, Do It Yourself, and Bocchi the Rock had their fair share of contenders each as well. Particularly of note, Keiichiro Saito and China's split episode of Yama no Susume episode 7, and the pair of Yusuke Nara Yamamoto directed episodes of Bocchi the Rock, episode 3 and 11, and Yusuke Fugo Matsuo's Beach Bonanza of Do It Yourself, episode 6. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the 6th episode of Bleach 1000 Year Blood War was also hugely transformative. See, I had to stress that one because, if there's Bleach fans watching, they might have a go at me. Anyway, though, having already covered it in detail, there's a link here to artistunknown.info. You can read Gef's article on this episode, the 6th episode of Bleach 1000 Year Blood War, right here. I'd instead rather fawn over Cyberpunk Edge Runners episode 6. My experience with this episode can be considered truly unique since, fed up with the poor subtitle quality offered by Netflix, and without a vested interest in the story, I decided to watch it raw. Considering I have only a rudimentary understanding of Japanese, especially on the listening side, what ensued was a personal psychosis that mirrored that of the central conflict of the episode. As ridiculous as it might sound, watching Liberated from what I considered to be the weakest element of the anime allowed for the enigmatic artistry of one Kai Ikarashi to completely dominate the screen, culminating in an experience that I generally could not replicate even if I tried. This story has a happy ending, as I eventually returned with proper subtitles and enjoyed the anime as a whole, but the overwhelming charisma on display in the 6th episode, in particular, will stick with me for a long time. Best show, Vampire in the Garden. Wait, they ain't Bocchi. Whatever. Since they happened to release only a few months apart, I couldn't help but notice an interesting dichotomy between The Orbital Children and Vampire in the Garden. As Netflix exclusive releases, they shared an unorthodox runtime that gave their respective creators around a movie's worth of time to work with. However, in the case of the former, this acted as a restriction. Mitsuo Iso was forced to condense his plans to the point where, instead of a cohesive story, the anime felt more like a disorganized tour of the ideas floating around his brain. On the other hand, the pseudo-OVA format played to the strengths of Ryotaro Makihara, who instead set out with a very simple story in mind. Vampire in the Garden is a tale of two girls who have fallen for each other, but as a result of living in different worlds, cannot be together. This Shakespearean premise should sound familiar to anyone who has consumed media of pretty much any kind before, though it's in this cliché simplicity that Vampire in the Garden shines. As a firm believer that style is substance, especially when it comes to animation, the work of illustrious character designer Tetsuya Nishio does much of the storytelling, with his neat and tidy design philosophy allowing for highly emotive and lively exchanges. There's some links here to some Boru cuts. The other aspects of the production come together nicely with Victorian architecture, tweet link here, painted by Studio Bihor. Hope I pronounced that right. Compositing and colour design that uses well-planned colour scripts to dictate scene variety. Another tweet here. As well as some strong casting choices. Vampire in the Garden is not without its shortcomings, but as something that checks all the boxes for a classic 90s OVA thriller. It's difficult not to admire its ability to even exist in this current year. Best movie, Dear King. Hey, another one for Dear King. Woohoo. Let's have a look at the chat. Imagine not putting Bocchi, what the fuck, laughing my ass off. Yes, Yuki, I hope you did. Can't wait to read your bit later. And TJ saying Keck. Right, that's excellent. Alright, let's keep going. Right, so best movie is Dear King. As a big fan of Seirei no Moribito, and a moderate fan of the small amount I've seen of Kemono no Soja Erin, I was eagerly anticipating The Deer King, Shika no O. The common element shared between these three anime is of course their original author, writer, Nahoko Uehashi. Yeah. Her stories strike an immensely satisfying balance between spiritual mysticism and grounded character drama. As if the deal could get any sweeter, the adaptation of Uehashi's most recent work also happened to be the directorial debut of Masashi Ando, which, if I remember from the posters over here, kept talking about his work on Ghibli stuff, because they needed some way to get people to watch this film. As the occasion demanded, production IG producer Keiko Matsushita would naturally ensure that such a titan of animation was surrounded with the best this industry has to offer. Toshiyuki Inoue in particular took the role of main animator to unfathomable heights, handling 400 cuts worth of layouts and taking around half of those to the final Genga stages, which might be even more remarkable feat. One would think with so much volume that some compromise would have to have been made in quality, yet his indomitable skill paired with a 2.5-year animation production cycle, his second longest ever, ensured not even the smallest detail would be spared, especially considering the extensive animal animation on display. There's a link there. Productions of this caliber simply do not exist with any regularity, making Shika no O quite a historic endeavour. With that said, it's not a flawless film when critiqued from perspectives that don't involve moving drawings. As a debut work, Andor struggled with presenting the exposition-dense lore that Uehashi's world and characters depend on. The general aesthetic, auras, and colour design in particular suffer from what you might call animator-brained inexperience, and leave a lot to be desired. The global pandemic, which its production coincided with, likely did not help matters either. However, despite these warts, there is still enough charm and sear craftsmanship to present a total package that is well worth the price of its admission. Good. Alright. Best opening, Ranking of Kings, opening number 2. With so many notable shows this year, it's only natural there would be a number of noteworthy openings and endings in tow. The usual industry leaders in the scene are well represented this year, and by that I mean Shingo Yamashita and Masashi Ishihama specifically, right? At this point in their careers, both have carved out a niche as opening maestros, and doing little of much else has allowed them to produce 3 openings apiece in 2022. While all 6 have individual notable qualities, on the whole, Osama Ranking was blessed with what I believe to be Yamashita's best work to date. The usual intricacies of his direction are present, from the rapid overlapping cuts to the photographic harmony. But what really elevates it to number 1 are the emotional beats of the story, which he managed to extract and present with the utmost care. Yamashita's direction and Vaundy's lyrics also synergize with extreme proficiency, both in the context on screen and at any given moment, and most importantly, in the crescendos of the music. An opening on this level could justify every cut being dissected with a fine-tooth comb. However, in the spirit of keeping it short, hold on. God, why? I'm gonna have to put detail on. Alright, okay, hold on. Alright, what's this say? Oh. Alright. Whatever. Next bit. Best aesthetic. Made in Abyss Season 2. Cool Dodgy Danchi. Oh yeah, I know about that Cool Dodgy Danchi thing. Remember reading about that. From the moment it aired back in 2017, Made in Abyss arrested viewers. Oh my god, it arrested people? What the heck? Oh, God. Right. Made in Abyss arrested viewers with its magical world. While there is nothing short of an army of skilled individuals in various departments responsible, a major factor in its success is the quality of its background art, which delivers on a level that practically does not exist elsewhere in the TV anime sphere. Oh, I've had to stop just here because in the chat right now, people are telling me that actually meant Zenbu. Oh, right, okay. Right. Zenbu. Okay, right. It was Zenbu. Your Japanese is better than me, Geff. Please. Like, I don't know what that is. Thank you, chat. Thank you. Right. With the second season, we find art director Osamu Masuyama reprising his role. This time, working alongside first-time art director Teru Sekiguchi. As the founder of the aptly named Studio Inspired. Oh, God. Studio Inspired. Alright. Okay, guys. Studio Inspired. Alright, okay. This would appear to be Masuyama's attempt at training the next generation of art directors under his Studio Ghibli, or Ghibli, hailed lineage. If having a newcomer under his wing happened to interfere in any way with the flow of Made in Abyss's Season 2's production, you wouldn't be able to tell from the quality of the output, as the anime continues to be an exemplar of world building through art direction. For a non-sequel choice, I'm going with Cool Doji Danchi, and it's worth deserving of a mention. As an overtly modest production, expectations should be appropriately adjusted. However, the staff has done well to maintain a comfortable level of consistency throughout. To that end, the low line count on Eri Taguchi's designs is a wonderful fit for such an unassuming series. Her Tetsuya Nishio-inspired work gains further mileage when augmented by the pastel colours and thoughtful light accents frequently deployed throughout. There's a real sense that the staff took the cool aspect of the title to heart and successfully channeled that concept into the aesthetic of the show. Right, best animation designs. Yamano Susume, Next Summit, and Do It Yourself, Yusuke Matsuo. Okay. Yep. The Made in Abyss Police. Yep. Arresting people. Okay. It's not every day, or every decade even, that a single artist outputs 2 episodes, one solo and the other intimately supervised in the very same week. And yet, that's exactly what happened during the historic Fugo week. Should check my calendar. Did I put that in there? Don't think so. No one told me about this. In which the world was greeted by a Yusuke Fugo Matsuo bonanza in both Yamano Susume Next Summit and Do It Yourself within the span of only a few days. This was made possible by the former being near completed over 2 years ago, though that their air dates would align so perfectly is nothing short of divine intervention. From a design perspective, it can be difficult to speak about Fugo's immediate impact on Yamano Susume, since the show has some of the most eclectic animation direction in modern anime. This amusingly even includes Fugo's own takes on his designs, which, while always strong, have the propensity to change depending on how he feels on any given day. The series not settling on a unified look makes it a lightning rod for skilled artists, since it allows them to uphold their own takes and embodies a core tenet of our fabricated definition of Sakuga. There's a thing here that says Sakuga. Anyway, in many ways, the same could be said of Do It Yourself, although on a lesser scale of idiosyncrasy. Even still, Matsuo is beloved by his peers, and it shows in the way they move mountains just to participate in anime blessed by his designs. Right, creative discovery, Yusei Komoto and Eri Ire, yeah. And Makaria Pals? Who? I don't know who that is. We'll get to that. The irony in picking Yusei Komoto and his pals as my discovery of the year is that the work which I'm discovering them for, this latest season of Yama no Susume, was essentially completed years ago. The series is historically among the best at integrating rookie staff among veteran animators, and this fourth and final season is the strongest yet from that perspective. Further adding to the appeal of this arrangement, many of this season's youngest stars began as fans of the series, with their special interest in acting-focused animation synergizing well with the premise of the show. Yusei Komoto specifically contributed to the opening and the B part of the 9th episode, both of which they did solo animation direction for, and both under Eri Irei's direction. This formidable duo of young artists established a consistent output of impressively detailed drawings, while still respecting the pipeline in a way where sequential frames follow each other effortlessly, with next to no melt or inconsistency, even throughout highly complex movements. Pairing these qualities with impressive construction in both distance models and close-up cuts alike, and you have a Sakuga nerd's dream episode. It's rare to see such a concentrated effort to elevate the entire screen in today's increasingly deteriorating TV anime sphere. So, utmost credit where it's due. Hopefully this team continues to thrive. Oh, that's Gef's bit done. Finally. I think I'm only a third of the way through. Maybe a quarter. I'm just going to have a water break very quickly. Just a little bit of water. Just to keep myself going. Right. So, right here we got Gina. Now, yeah, I think, like, I didn't know that was Gina at first. But, yeah, I had to look it up. Right. Please link it somewhere. Help. But yeah, look, you got animator, storyboarder, director, writer. Good at everything. We got the Twitter and Sakugabowl tag right here. If you highlight the Sakugabowl tag, it says Gina down there. So that's really helpful. I didn't have that at the beginning, but very good I have that now. Anyway, let's have a look at Gina's awards for 2022 then. Oh, this is way short, thank God. Right. Best episode. Yama no Susume Next Summit, Episode 5A. An episode for veterans to show off their overwhelming power in a season where youngsters are full of life. It goes without saying that Norio Matsumoto-san's animation is fantastic. Add to that another given source of excellence like Yusuke Yamamoto-san as episode director, and you've got a storyboard that shows complete understanding and trust in the animator in question. 20-second long takes of character animation asking for background animation cuts like it's nothing, precisely because it's Matsumoto-san. It was great to see this high output pair in perfect sync, as if they were another couple of youngsters like those who rampage all over anime right now. Thank you, Yusuke Yamamoto and Norio Matsumoto. Yeah, we like Norio Matsumoto here. Best show, Bocchi the Rock. A masterpiece where Keiichiro Saito and Shota Umehara's creative ideation shone through at its maximum potential. 12 episodes, each one a gem formed by Ume P's beloved, resolute creators who are surrounded by director Keiichiro Saito's deep love of creation. A destination, but one that fills me with anticipation for what future endeavours from Umehara's production line may bring. Thank you, Keiichiro Saito and Shota Umehara. Scrolling down a bit more. Best movie, Suzume. We can watch that this year. Woo. There's an unexpected roughness to the film that sharply reflects the agony that the themes touched upon must bring to Makoto Shinkai. At the same time, it was an enjoyable movie-going experience that effectively makes use of the comedic direction that hasn't been attempted since the front half of Your Name. Thank you, Makoto Shinkai. Best ending. Every single Yamano Susume Next Summit ending. They only link episode 1, but every single ending, as far as I'm aware, are all different. So that's really good. Every week was exciting, like keeping up with a serialized manga. A wonderfully insane amount of output to create single-handedly. Thank you, Ko Yoshinari. Best aesthetic, White Snow. Link right here. It's a YouTube video. You can sense the creator's diligence in how beautifully the tiny gold jewelry is drawn. Thank you, Taishi Kawakami. Best animation designs, Bocchi the Rock, from Kerorira. Please get some rest, Kerorira. Please get some rest. Oh boy. Oh, okay. I think he needs it, but yeah. At the same time, thank you, Kerorira. That's brilliant. That's really good. Okay, that's great. Creator discovery, Yusuke Matsuo. There's the tag here. We've talked about Yusuke Matsuo already, but go there as well. Just as the character designs for Yamano Susume change every season, Yusuke Matsuo changes with every series, and shows us a new side of himself. From his designs for do-it-yourself paying homage to Takahiro Kishida, to his bold solo key animation on Yamano Susume Next Summit, 2022 was a year where all eyes were on a new Yusuke Matsuo. As we move forward, I look forward to seeing different sides to a new Yusuke Matsuo as he continues to evolve. Thank you, Yusuke Matsuo. And thank you to all the anime creators in 2022. You worked hard. Here's to a happy new year. Hooray! Oh, Chida, I can't thank you enough. Like, you barely wrote anything. That's brilliant. Oh, great. I can go to the next guy. Right, we got AJ now. AJ's up next. Another Brit. Very nice to have British people on here. Thank you. But now you've got British people reading out a British person's stuff. Great. Okay, so he calls himself a Dragon Baller. He told me to type this. Okay. And yet, Twitter's right here. If you want to go follow. Okay, hopefully he didn't write too much. Bet he didn't. He wrote loads, probably. Best episode, Chainsaw Man, episode 8. Oh, wow, it took this long for a Chainsaw Man mention. There's a lot to be said about the tone that series director Ryu Nakayama had furnished Chainsaw Man with in its jump to an animated format. A grounded approach packed with naturalistic animation is the furthest thing from my mind when I think of the manga, and the results have certainly proven divisive depending on which side of the world you're on. Yeah, there's like a stupid, what's it called again? Petition to say you don't like the show anymore. Stupid. Anyway, while petitions like these are laughably misguided, it's not difficult to see why some of the source material's most ardent fans would react in such a way. It's an adaptation that elevates its character arc drama at the cost of the source's pristine comedic chops. And while it may not wholly succeed as a complete adaptation, its 8th episode was a perfect storm. It resulted in my favourite episode of anime this year. Oh, just want to quickly have a look at chat. Everyone's saying pray for Kerorira. I also say pray for Kerorira. I'm going to say that too. Pray for Kerorira. It's going to look really weird. Like, you're going to hear me say that, 2 minutes from now. But Yeah. Anyway, I wrote that. Shota Goshozono Goso is no stranger to Sakuga blog readers. Yeah, I know that guy. Yeah. Particularly following his gargantuan effort at the head of All Summer Ranking's 21st episode. And he impresses here once again, taking Nakayama's filmic direction and executing it at the highest level. Its first half alone is a masterclass in character animation, with a board that often feels distant and bordering on voyeuristic, conveying the depth of the environment while letting its characters interact with it in a way seldom found in anime. At the same time, there are an abundance of ambitious point of view shots, got there eventually, that, although not executed perfectly, offer a unique and dynamic approach to navigating its setting. With a near total absence of music for its entire first half, it relies solely on diegetic sound and character performance to weave itself into such a delicate piece of animation, and it all comes together so well. While there are absolutely fantastic pieces of action in its second half, they feel like a footnote to an episode that performs its series director's intentions to an unparalleled degree. Oh my god, this honourable mentions section is so long. Oh, right, okay. Oh, no it isn't, it's just one line. Oh, thank god. Right. It was honourable mentions, Mob Psycho 100, Season 3, Episode 6 and Episode 8, and Cyberpunk Edge Runners, Episode 6. Will Kerorira ever sleep? Probably not, but I already know I'm going to bed late tonight, so yeah. Thanks, Ginger Frog, for that comment there. Keep saying things in chat. I like seeing what you write. It's very nice. I like seeing those. But we'll continue on with AJ's best show, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 didn't have the smoothest of launches, and while it could be enjoyed by those on PCs with capable hardware, its console launch was criminal enough to see it pulled from the PlayStation Store. Fortunately, I found myself in the former camp, and in spite of a plethora of bugs, the gameplay clicked with me, and I quickly fell in love with its world and characters, and walked away considering it my favourite game of its eligible 2021 period. Cyberpunk Edge Runners could quite easily have been a forgettable video game tie-in, particularly given how common these are in this industry. Often, those are poorly abridged versions of a game or focused in on a side character that probably should have remained as such. Instead, thanks to a collaboration between CD Projekt Red and Studio Trigger writers, the series produced a story and characters that stand on their own merits, while also honouring and living up to its video game origins. Its use of one-to-one settings from the open world, its themes, its pristine English localization, and phenomenal music picks, they're not only a fan's wet dream, but are also compelling enough in their own right to have entirely reignited interest in the game, drawing players in or back to give the now fixed version of Cyberpunk 2077 another chance. While there's certainly a sense that Hiroyuki Imaishi's investment in this series was less pronounced than usual, his stylistic quirks can certainly be felt in the way it blends its frenetic energy with its quieter moments. It's the individual directors that really make it shine as a result, and that certainly comes to a head with Kai Igarashi's Episode 6, a harrowing climax to the anime's first arc, with some of the most memorable visuals this year. There is a link right here that you can have a look at. While its absurdly impressive production values start to falter in the lead up to its bombastic finale, it is no less of a series for it. Yo Yoshinari's character designs transform CD Projekt Red's concept work into eye-catching models fit for animation, and the choice to emphasize the neon cityscape of Night City through persistent rim lights is a genius choice that adds to a unique flair with guaranteed memorability, with the likes of Yuto Kaneko allowed to design fan-favourite Rebecca and CD Projekt Red approving it after a little pushback. It's clear they eventually reached a sense of creative understanding here, and I think that's the key to its success. Arcane, Castlevania, and now Cyberpunk Edgerunners are all series that come across as creator-driven. They're fantastic stories first, and excellent video game adaptations second, but it's the ability to execute both aspects at their highest level that solidifies their quality and provides widespread appeal. I could not be happier with its success, and I hope this is a trend that continues and carries on, opening up doors for people to experience each other's favourite mediums. Honourable mention, Bocce the Rock. Look, at least it got an honourable mention. You can have one. Oh my god! Yes! AJ, thank you! I knew someone was going to appreciate British Sakuga. Yes, finally. Very good. I'm very happy that this film, right here, is best movie on someone's list. Oh, I'm very happy with this. I watched this. I've seen this. This is not anime. Anime Janai. It's the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. I watched this. It's very good, right? Let me read this bit, though. Bringing Charlie Mackessy's stunning watercolor illustrations to life through 2D animation is an astonishing feat, given his work is defined by its loose gestural quality. Any deviation into rigidity, even for conventional line work, would take away from its appeal. It's wonderful to see that director Peter Bainton understood this, and along with his international team, developed a pipeline that saw the pencil layouts finished with loose ink work to evoke the same feeling as Mackessy's work. The finished results are striking. Did they actually put this on the Boru? Yes, they did. Well done. Good on you. British Sakuga did make it onto the Boru in 2022. Good. With the compositing team layering watercolor edges along the shading and placing the completed cells against the beautifully painted backgrounds in a way that feels organic and reminiscent of traditional analog animation. It elevates the wonderful cuts to new heights and harkens back to an era of Western animation seldom seen anymore. It's currently shortlisted for the Best Animated Short Film Award at the Oscars, and although largely meaningless given the ceremony's treatment of animation over the years, it would be great to see it recognised with a nomination. Yeah, again, it's a good film. I highly recommend that you watch it if you have access to BBC iPlayer. It is available for another 3 weeks, I think. Yeah, for another 3 weeks or so. Do watch it. I mean, you could probably find it somewhere if you're not in the UK, or you can pretend you're in the UK with a VPN. Do watch it. It's actually really good. The honourable mention is Jujutsu Kaisen 0. Right, now we're back to anime. Okay, I think people have just gotten to the bit where I'm like going nuts over this bit. Very good, thanks TJ. Best opening is Chainsaw Man opening number 1. Was there other openings in Chainsaw Man? I thought there was just the one. Or whatever. I very much doubt I'm the only person on this page to have handed Shingo Yamashita this award this year. You're not, so far. And unsurprisingly, my reasons for doing so are almost identical to why I gave him this in 2020 for his Jujutsu Kaisen opening. He just does things better. The 3D camera work, the ludicrously detailed lighting, the shot composition, the grounded animation. Yamashita-led projects are impossible to miss at this point, and he doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. In 90 seconds, he demonstrates an understanding of Chainsaw Man that goes above and beyond the main character, the main episode contents. There we go. It is exhilarating, funny, wacky, dynamic, and grounded, and chock full of references to a plethora of films, throughout the ages. If that doesn't distill the essence of Chainsaw Man perfectly, I don't know what does. It's brilliant through and through. Woohoo. Right, best aesthetic and best animation designs, do it yourself. Ooh, okay. If you ever want to win me over, just throw loose shapes, pastel colours, and minimal shading at me, and I will probably fall in love. I'm sure you can post that. You can cut out some coloured paper and stuff, put it in an envelope, and just send it. Yeah, that'll work too. But do it yourself is an anime, and that's a bit better. And it embodies everything I love in animation. And I've never had an easier time handing out 2 awards. Yusuke Matsuo is a genius, and there's little more to add that wasn't already covered in Kevin's recent article on this very subject. Link to the article right here. His design work in Do It Yourself feels, to sum it up, effortless. It showcases stylish shape design and interesting anatomical flourishes, allowing for idiosyncratic animators to thrive without feeling at odds with the more conventional scenes found across the show. Hands in particular are always so wonderfully shaped with minimal line work, either standing on their own as cool, stylistic shapes or elevated with volumetric shading. The art direction across the show is unparalleled, contrasting the pastel colours of its characters against deeply coloured, luscious backgrounds, and utilising lighting in a multitude of different but equally pleasing ways from episode to episode. While I don't love the choice of static grain, I can't deny that textural quality it adds to the image certainly fits the aesthetic. Do-it-yourself's animation may have weaned? Yeah, I guess that works. As the show pushed past its midpoint prior to finding its feet again for its final episodes, but it never felt like a substantial downgrade thanks to its foundation standing this strong. And we got creator discovery, we got Vincent Chansard. If you don't know Vincent Chansard, there's the Sakugabowl tag where you can see all the work they've done. Here we go. Quick water break. Hold on. There we go. Right. Vincent Chansard isn't a name that's actually new to me. Well, that's a bit cheating, isn't it? But prior to this year, he was an animator who was very much on the fringe of my perception. He'd produced some wonderful scenes, but nothing to the level that has subsequently garnered worldwide attention this year. 2022 saw Chansard contribute to the One Piece anime on a regular basis, taking the already high standard of Wano to previously unimaginable heights. His understanding of shape and volume is hard to comprehend. Link here. Handling nightmare designs like Kaido with ease. Over and over, he drops action scenes that stand as some of the finest seen in anime this year. And he does not stop, producing magical work as recently as 2 weeks ago. With the One Piece anime heading into what will be its final year in Wano, I'm sure Chansard will somehow keep growing and one-upping himself with every appearance. Thank you, AJ. I'm really happy with this bit right here. Oh boy, that feels so good to read. Oh, so good. Thank you. Oh. But I really hope we get more British Sakuga coming this year. Hoping this Christmas we get some more great stuff coming. Why didn't the Channel 4 Ident not get a nod? Seriously, that was great. If only 20 seconds long. Right, so now we get to the other Canadian in this, Ken Yamamoto, who is also known as Leaf. No guesses for why. He is an animator, storyboarder, director, Aikatsu respecter, and a Leaf. Good thing they're an Aikatsu respecter, my kind of person. There's their Twitter, and there's their Boru tag right here. It also seems like they didn't write very much, so that's brilliant. So let's go. Right, best episode. Shoot, Goal to the Future, Episode 2. I'm sure someone else will mention them, so I'm choosing to exclude all of Bocce the Rock, as well as Akebi Sailor Uniform Episode 7, Summertime Rendering Episode 15, and all of My Dress Up Darling, and all of The Orbital Children. Wow, we're really cutting a lot out there, right? Shoot, Gold to the Future as a whole doesn't look particularly amazing, but the stellar direction as well as the soccer animation that feels like it references real footage resulted in an incredible episode filled with a typical passion. Good or bad or side, my favourite series for the year. The show, Futako no Guild. I bet everyone will unanimously pick Bocce the Rock this year, so a different title for me. Actually, if you look further up, there's a few people that pick different ones, but yeah, most people will definitely pick Bocce. Futako no Guild's animation isn't particularly flashy or extravagant, and every episode is full of silly, pervy gags, like cut rock candy but with fan service. It consistently delivers the same and funny, I swear it is really funny, 30-minute slices every week. It's a really good series. I also really like Daimon, which calmed my soul week after week. Best movie, Bakuten. It was between this and Laid Back Camp. At first glance, the Bakuten movie seems like adolescent sports fare, but the refreshing down-to-earth tone only feels possible now that the TV anime's main audience have become working adults. For example, how the myopic world of high schoolers is properly depicted as such. There's a subplot revolving around the main character's coach choosing a career, which furthers the sensation of getting a detached look into the world of these schoolboys. All the while, the gymnastics scenes, directed by Shingo Yamashita, I believe, get you pumped with their bold camera work. Big emotional changes are accompanied by vivid still shots. Be they bitter or sweet for the characters, these are irreplaceable moments for them, and they're depicted as such. I really love this movie. Best music video, High Drivers music video. There's a link right here if you want to go have a look at that one. It's on YouTube. It was either this or the first Summertime Rendering opening ending, but those feel more like we're entering the realm of live action and motion graphics. Since these are the Anime Awards, I choose High Drivers. AJ picked some British thing. Whatever. I made my decision based on the faithfulness to Paco's art, the beauty of its animation, as well as how purely slick it is. Moving down, Best Aesthetic, Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury, and Do It Yourself. The Witch from Mercury is the peak of modern industry standard compositing, with luxurious effects layered one after another. At the same time, I am drawn to Do It Yourself by its spirit, which feels as if it wants to reclaim the unconstrained nature that anime once possessed. But I'm sure everyone else will also pick along the lines of these two series. Best Animation Designs, Daimon, from Rin Asano. Link here. Probably. No, there's no link. Oh, okay. Probably is a link somewhere. I feel like a majority of people will pick Do It Yourself, Yamano Suzume, or Bocce the Rock. So I'm excluding Yusuke Matsuo-san here, as well as the absolute god, Kerorira. Daimon's original art by Rin Asano-san is really good and possesses a warmth to it. The anime's designs do a great job capturing that gentle feel, and the stills in the ending especially are quite beautiful. I also like the designs for Extreme Hearts, which retain that 2000s era Zebek. No. I think... God. How do we pronounce Zebek again? I think that was correct. I remember in the credits they actually do tell you how to pronounce it, but I've forgotten. And it's like almost midnight, I'm not doing that. Creative Discovery, Source Lot. Their Sakugabowl tag is right here. I found out about Source Lot from the new season of Bleach. Yay, that's the second mention of Bleach. Woo. I feel like Jump adaptations are the perfect playground for animators who love to go wild. Thanks, Leaf. Right, that was nice, easy peasy. Right. I don't even think we're halfway through yet. Oh, boy. Right. Next up, we got Futon. Futon has got a Twitter right here. You want to follow them? And they are the professional Yamana Susume Laika. Yeah, good thing they got a new season this year then. Right. Okay, best episode. Way too many. Oh, because there's lots of episodes that are good this year, I guess. Okay. Even though most of the categories this time round have had clear winners in my mind, best episode has never given me so much trouble before. Days kept passing, and my pick was changing as well. I could never fully justify any one of my picks. Not because none of them was good enough. Quite the opposite, in fact. There's been so many, memorable moments this year that it was impossible to choose one. And in the end, I have to cheat. Wow. Okay. You have to cheat. That's not good, is it? Well, it's not good because I have to read them all. But, okay, let's give it a good shot here. I'm going to have a walk break very quickly before I go through them all. Right. Great debuts. We had those. Just look at the amazing full storyboarding and directorial debut from Yusuke Kawakami on My Dress Up Darling Episode 8. A slow and moody episode full of amazing layouts. Right there. That's just telling you what a layout is. And godly animators on board. Want action spectacle instead? I have to recommend Pre-Kone Season 2, Episode 4 by Takahito Sakazume. An episode reminiscent of Fate Apocrypha's legendary episode 22 that really changed the way we look at digital animators and over-the-top action. Fancy a huge but unexpected comeback? Look no further than Mob Psycho 100 Season 3 Episode 8 by Hakuyu Goso's super skillfully storyboarded All-Summer Ranking 21 is also fresh in my memory, full of ambitious layouts, some of which I've never seen attempted before. Last but not least, the first candidate I had in mind is worth a shout out, even if I couldn't give it exclusive honours in the end. Cyberpunk Edgerunners Episode 6, boarded and supervised by Kai Ikarashi. His first dreamlike sequence on SSSS Gridman was genius. When he returned for a similar scenario on its sequel, Dyna Xenon, the result was godly. But the fact that it happened now for the third time, and he got away with it, blows my mind. Same main theme, yet it doesn't feel as stale and rehashed in any way. This is simply a testament to his storyboarding prowess and never-ending ideas, and of course, his amazing art. I didn't even mention any Bocce the Rock episodes, or even the other Mob ones that are also deserving of a spot. What a terrible year to pick a single best episode, and what an amazing one to enjoy them as a viewer. Right, okay, best show. Yeah, it's that one again. Bocce the Rock. Oh, do you know what? I feel like a Eurovision announcer. It's like, yeah, Bocce the Rock, 12 points. Right, and then the points go on the board, right? And I feel like I'm going through all the Balkan countries, right? All giving 12 points to each other. Ugh. Right, Bocce. Bocce, Bocce, Bocce. We're going to read about Bocce again. Okay. Oh, good lord. Right. Let me start by emphasising this. I'm still not sure how this show is real. With every episode feeling like a high priority effort, knowing of the late start of the production and the sometimes overly ambitious people working on it, whether it be the producer Shota Umehara or the character designer Kerorira, everything pointed to Bocce the Rock, eventually falling apart. And yet, this team got Bocce to succeed in a way that few passion projects nowadays can. The show gathered an amazing crew since the start. However, that was not enough for me to be hyped about it. Many shows pull great people aboard, but most of them, and especially we're talking about Aniplex titles, then fail to overcome the issues that plague the anime industry right now. To me, Bocce simply had the energy of such a project as months passed and we did not see any trailers or even finished still shots, which continued up until 1 month before the premiere. Surely creators do not have enough time. Surely Aniplex rushed it out and set unreasonable deadlines. Surely Bocce would need a postponement. It didn't. What I didn't account for when it came to the health of this production was the ace in its sleeve, the aforementioned Kerorera, who kept casually reporting his own progress on Twitter. Every day, he'd casually mention how many cuts he drew himself. 7, 10, 6, 8, nothing but steady progress, even on days where he disappointingly noted that he'd only drawn a number of cuts that a human animator might achieve in their most efficient days, showing how much of a speed demon he really is. And he wasn't even a main animator, he was the designer, with other tasks to perform as well. Kerorera lessened a lot of the burden from the production. In fact, around 2 full episodes worth of the burden on the key animation front alone, and frankly, the team definitely needed that, judging by how ambitious and creative they were with this project. Series director Keiichiro Saito did not hesitate to approve of the wild, quirky proposals, such as using live-action shots, building their own zoetropes, or embracing stylized CG footage, and that's without even getting into the musical aspect, where live performance director Yusuke Kawakami's propensity to have them draw over intricate CG and live-action reference data definitely added to the toll. Imagine how heavy on the production team those aspects of the show must have been, or rather, you don't have to imagine. The team said so already. That only makes their success more impressive. For as much as I've praised an animation team that somehow made this work, as a viewer, I can only bow down to Erika Yoshida, the scriptwriter for every episode. Her work is what truly made all that effort click for me. It's been a while since I last saw such charmingly written comedy in which every joke, every gag, and every character landed for me. Despite all the praise I can give it, my final surprise was definitely how well received the show was. I expected an anime from animation nerds, mostly for animation nerds, something that only a few see the appeal in. Instead, the love of the people making Bocce the Rock got even to mainstream audiences, which is great to see. And yes, let's have a look at the chat very quick. Yuki saying Bocce sweep. Yeah. There's definitely Bocce sweep going on here, guys. Right, and then Bocce would probably win the Eurovision. I agree. Yeah, I would definitely say that it would win Eurovision. Shame I'm not a Eurovision commentator. BBC, I'm up for a job. Come on. Right, so best opening, Ranking of Kings, opening number 2. Link right here. Again, it's already been mentioned before, but yeah, links are in these things as well. This category has already been nailed on since January for me. All Summer Ranking's second opening is Shingo Yamashita's magnum opus, and probably my favourite opening of all time. I can't sing enough praises about it, but I'll try. Yamashita's heavily processed digital work was perfect for Jujutsu Kaisen last year. But would he be able to reinvent himself for a show that is so different from his usual output? I asked myself. We're talking about a show that looks more like an oil-painted fairy tale rather than the sleek yet gritty cityscapes that define his modern output. In the end, the answer was both yes and no. Yamashita didn't change much in his usual approach, still leaning into digital tricks like overexposing the light, using very smooth light sources, or sometimes even digital maps, and of course including his favourite time of day, the twilight, right after the golden hour. Everything that worked for him before, all that made his style so distinct, is still right here. Instead, he changed the line work filter. The result makes it look like it were drawn with crayons. Something that's especially visible on irotore lines. I'm going to have to look up that word later. If anyone in chat wants to tell me what the heck that's meant to be, that would be really good. I don't know what that is. Help me out here. On a more conceptual level, rather than this technical nitty-gritty, Yamashita fits Osama ranking naturally because of the main theme, size. It's a show that tries to portray everything as huge compared to our tiny protagonist, and it was precisely that sense of scale that allowed him to stand out as a digital animator. Back then, he'd already had an amazing grasp on how to board such scenes and move the camera to evoke an unsurmountable difference in size, and I feel like it culminated in this show. Oh, and the song is a banger too. Okay, best aesthetic, do it yourself, and yeah, Eurovision Sakuga. Yeah. Yeah, we should definitely do that one day. Maybe. Anytime I looked at Idolmaster Cinderella Girls and Yamano Susume disc release covers, I always wondered if we'd ever seen Yusuke Matsuo's characters come to life in their fullest form. The man is a legend, whose name is enough to bring hundreds of talented animators to a project just to work with his character designs. Right. Something that makes sense given not just their appeal, but how animation friendly they are, making use of a low line count and adapting from project to project and sometimes within the same series. Right. Something that makes sense given not just their appeal, but how animation friendly they are. Right. Making use of a low line count and adapting from project to project. Oh, yeah, I've already done that. There's no doubt to me that he's great as a craft, and many people recognise that. I'm losing my place. This is how late it is. Bloody hell. Right. However, there is a side to his work that not many really take notice of. One that mostly gets lost in the anime industry. Matsuo is a brilliant illustrator whose understanding of colours and soft light elevates his artwork even higher. Pastel-like orange and pink hues are what captivated me in the aforementioned disc release covers, and what makes me come back to his blog every couple of days to check for new drawings. Cue my delight when Do-It-Yourself was revealed. The promotional materials were very promising, with key visuals either drawn and coloured by Matsuo himself or closely following his understanding of colour, mainly those purple shadows he loves so much. There's a link here to a picture. The show ended up being exactly what I dreamed of for years. It's as if I was looking at Yusuke Matsuo's moving illustrations, or at least, the very least, the closest approximation we will ever get to them within an anime pipeline, thanks to the titanic effort of the director Kazuhiro Yoneda and the studio Pine Jam staff. The colour design and art design are pitch perfect. Of course, this is again supported by the image boards drawn at the beginning of the project by the man in question, but it's still remarkable that they were able to execute them with such grace. What a great show with amazing aesthetics. I can only salute the staff for turning this dream of mine into a reality. Right? Oh boy, I think we're only halfway through this one. Yeah, I think we're only halfway through the whole thing. Best animation designs, Bocchi the Rock from Kerorira. Good thing we got more Bocchi. Last year, I nominated Kana Hiroyama for this category, mainly because of the sheer number of cuts she corrects and redraws for every project of hers. Because as much as some shows need creative freedom and a loose approach to supervising the artwork, the opposite can also be necessary, especially in an industry chronically lacking in time to flesh out animation. If your designer or animation director is very quick and skillful, then why not let them take over and truly make a show theirs? That was just the case with Kerorira, the character designer for Bocchi the Rock. He didn't only play a key role in getting the project greenlit in the first place, but also proceeded to make sure that it was completed, even if that meant undertaking all the work himself. He obviously didn't have to, but it was one of the most titanic efforts on a single core show I have ever seen. As the designer, and by extension chief animation director, Kerorira was in charge of early stage corrections for other people's animation. And he also acted as the sole supervisor for 2 episodes and the opening sequence. Now that's a lot of work, you might be thinking, but we're only getting started here. For one, we have to add the workload equivalent to acting as an additional animation director for an additional 6 episodes. And being the way he is, those were not small chunks of work that he set apart for himself. On top of this all, he also key animated almost 700 cuts. 700 cuts. So, people editing this bit here, don't need it. Which is around 2 full episodes worth of animation. And don't get me started on all the promotional materials drawn by him as well. Is he even a human? Alright, but the category isn't called most work done, right? Let's talk about the style he imbued so much of the show with. The most prominent aspect of Kerorira's design philosophy is the very angular shapes without much roundness to them. We can see it in the characters' faces, how square they all are when you distill them to the simplest shapes, starting from their cheeks and ending on the ears. There's a link here. Maybe there's some sort of description or something on this. Alright. But you can click that to get more info. To balance it out, he rarely closes the lines on the chin, so as not to make the faces too pointy. This angular approach is not only part of his line work, but also how he shades his characters with a very prominent diagonal line across characters. This is most noticeable in promotional materials and works he can colour himself, which, just like his animation, comes across as very easy on the line despite this underlying angularity. And given that this is a music theme work with a protagonist who plays the guitar, those shapes also come into play during the performance scenes. Bocchi leans hard into playing instruments realistically with guitar chords and fret movement being shown every time the girls perform. And what better to showcase that than Kerorira's easy to animate fat, square fingers. Praise, I swear, look how easy to replicate they are. I'm actually interested. What is this? Review privacy. Yep, they look pretty cubey. Those 2 fingers are merged together. Yep, no, they look pretty good to me. Pretty good fingers, guys. Right. Considering the amount of work Kerorira has done, the speed necessary to do that, given how late the production started, the perfection of the lines he draws, and easy to spot quirks of his art, he has to be my favourite character designer this year. What an amazing artist. Right. Okay, and we got creative discovery, so that means this one's almost over as well. Right. It's Yusei Komoto. We've talked about them before. Tags here. Every time Yamano Susume loses some key staff members, they are able to replace them with new talent who appears to come out of thin air, putting together incredible work under the supervision of Yusuke Matsuo, China, and Kazuaki Shimada, later Satoshi Furuhashi and Noriyuki Imaoka. And now, Ryosuke Shinkai and Yusei Komoto. It's always huge fans of the series and designer who force their way into the project, be it by drawing as much fan art as possible or by taking up other job offers by the studio with the condition of a Yamasusu reward. Perhaps more than any of those previous cases, Komoto instantly turned people's heads when he served as the animation director for the opening and the amazing episode 9B. Yamano Susume was always a show with creative freedom for all people involved, not enforcing a particular aesthetic as much as other shows. Each animation director's rendition was different, and you never knew if the next episode will show you young, old, round, or very thin looking characters. There were no rules there, and as a viewer, it's kind of amazing. Thus came Core Mortal's turn to supervise our beloved characters, not only giving them a more mature flair than usual, but also paying extra attention to the shadows and folds on every piece of clothing, giving the whole thing a serious and realistic undertone in an episode precisely about the adults' outlook. What elevates his job as an animation director even more is the consistency of his corrections. Each cut gets the same treatment. When drawing tons of shadows on clothes, you could even assume Core Mortal fully redraws most of them. That's how detailed and in his style all the corrections looks. Since it very well seems like the final season of the show, I can't wait to see where he goes next. And hopefully, even in a less stable production than Yamasusu, he will still be able to supervise animation as thoroughly. Like one thing I am getting when I am reading this is like, it feels really hard to believe that Yamasusu has ended. Oh dear. It's going to be very hard to watch the last season. It's called Next Summit. I would have thought there would have been more after, but wow, if it's the last one, that's quite sad actually. I'm looking forward to it though. I will be watching that absolutely because I love the first 3 seasons. Again, I'll get round to it. Don't worry. Right, so we got the next person, Dandiest here. Right, so we're past the halfway point now. They are the Osan Appreciator. Oh yeah, you can follow them here. Go follow them. Right there. Lovely. No stuff in the chat since I read all of this stuff. But yeah, please do chat in the chat. Share it with other people because honestly, I am going to get to the end. Trust me on this one. So maybe people are waiting until I get to Kevin's stuff when I finally get to the apparently biggest section of this whole thing till everyone goes on it. Oh boy. Look, Gary, there I am. Oh, I don't know who Spiky Seeds are, but they seem pretty excited. Hello, Spiky Seeds. Well, guess what? If this is you, I'm reading you right now. Yeah, I'm doing that to you right now. Right. Okay. Let's read it. And already, the best episode is already very interesting because it's Digimon Ghost Game episode 19. Very good. Yeah, it's always good to see like people saying other stuff. So yeah, I really like this. Oh, hello. You probably see me on a delay, but yes, hello, Dandiest, hello. Yeah, I am reading you now. Anyway, water break. Right, go. Despite being far too old for the target demographic, that's not an excuse. Look at me watching Precure. I feel that there's still a lot to take away from experiencing horror pieces aimed at children. Ideally, it lands on a sweet spot where it's truly scary in the eyes of kids, but also not so overwrought as to traumatize them. A goal that forces creators to think outside the box, to envision worlds and creatures that play off kids' fears so that the experience sticks with them without turning fully sour. Digimon Ghost Game, mostly, does a great job at teetering on that fine line, with the Digimon of the Week offering more like Yokai instead, wreaking havoc in a myriad of creative and horrifying ways. The show's been a blast to keep up with week to week, and I highly recommend checking it out if you're looking for kids' horror done right. Digimon was always the best when it was scary. Episode 19 is a prime example of how the show works within its limitations, both the margin of children's horror and Toei's economic production model, and still manages to create an episode that towers over most of the hard hitters for me this year. The unsung master of horror, Hiroyuki Kakudo, drops you right into the madness from the onset. The first minute assaults you with distorted layouts of the city, complemented by that burning sunset, setting the mood for the atmospheric horror the rest of the episode revels in. It's not the most impressively animated, and it doesn't have to be, since Kakudo manages to create a world that's equally enthralling as it is chilling through his direction alone, all without the usual cheap horror tricks. No lame jump scares, no immersion-breaking stingers, just the ever-growing tension and dread in the face of the unknown. You're just as clueless as the protagonists who found themselves suddenly spirited away are, and by the end of the episode, you really don't get many answers as to what that alternate space was. And frankly, you don't need them. Ambiguity is another vital part of writing horror. Sometimes you never get answers for everything. And if successfully executed, you won't ask for them. You'll never figure out what that bump in the night was, or if it really was the wind that blew the door open, but it'll always be on your mind. A truly otherworldly experience that sticks with you. That's what this episode represents to me. Honourable mentions. We got Kai Ikarashi's batshit crazy Cyberpunk Edge Runner 6, every other episode of Bocce the Rock, but more specifically Nara's eclectic episode 3, and Keiichiro Saito and Takeshi Seo's climactic episode 8, Hakuyu Go's third swan song on Mob Psycho Series 3 episode 8, and Yusuke Kawakami's debut on My Dress Up Doll episode 8, which is now my new favourite number. Look at that. Loads of 8s. All good there. Best show. It's, hold on, let me check. Yep, it's Bocce the Rock. Woo. 12 points. Right. Bocce rocks. Need I say more? With everything stacked against it from the very start, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop eventually. However, what I wasn't expecting was for every new episode to be my new favourite episode. Every week, I look forward to the myriad of different ways Bocce's debilitating social anxiety was going to be portrayed. When every small little task feels like you're putting your life on the line, the normal shy mannerisms ain't gonna cut it. And the visually multifaceted approach to her anxiety makes her all the more relatable, and more satisfying when she finally starts making her first steps. Keiichiro Saito and Shota Umehara's team remind the viewer that there's a bit of Bocce in all of us. Oh, and I guess the music was okay too. Okay, best animation designs. Do it yourself. We got Yusuke Matsuo once again. Do-it-yourself designs are the type of deceptive simplicity that make me envious of Yusuke Matsuo, also known as Fugo's skill. Every drawing feels so organic and effortless, yet you certainly gotta know your stuff to simplify them that well in the first place. Special shout out to Noriyuki Eel? Eel? Is it like eel, like swimming eel? I think it is. Eel. Noriyuki Imaoka's animation direction on episode 3, demonstrating the importance of thoughtful line economy and placement when it comes to simplistic designs, adding the proper amount of nuance without taking away from their minimalist appeal. Creator discovery, Hiroyuki Kakudo. Naturally, after watching a good-ass episode of anime, you just have to go find out who's responsible. The name that greeted me after looking up such an episode was Toei Titan Hiroyuki Kakudo, one who's still freelance. But don't think too hard about the studio's contractual situations, best known for directing the first 2 seasons of Digimon. To me, however, he should be known as the true master of horror. Kakudo has been a regular on many Toei projects for decades now, but he truly shines once he's in his element, and Ghost Game happily enables the horror fanatic that's been dying to come out. His episodes are the show at its most grisly, but if you don't have time to binge the 50 plus episodes, I heavily recommend checking out his short films. White Hand is an exercise in tension and build up, leading you to a twist you could never guess no matter how hard you try. Dancing Briefly, meanwhile, turns a typical nightly stroll into something more sinister on a dime, all while retaining a very playful tone throughout. He always offsets the eeriness with a dash of whimsy, making his work so enthralling to me, and hopefully for whomever decides to check him out as well. Thank you, Daniest. Thank you very much for that lovely section. Noriyuki is not ill. Eel. I don't know if it's me being like, that I've been up since like 7 a.m. and now it's 12:30, but yeah. Right, we got this guy next. Karorira. The guy that's been talked about loads already. Animator, character designer, and the world's fastest one-man studio. One must wonder how Karorira even found the time to write this. One must wonder this. Like, how? How did he have the time? Like, after all the stuff he's done, like, how? How did he do this? Did he, like, quickly type something up in, like, 10 minutes and go, yep, I'm gonna just send that off, we're all done? Or, like, is he just, like, a machine? I don't know. This guy is crazy. But let's read his section. So, the best episode... Oh, wait, no, there's a disclaimer, sorry. Disclaimer, let me start by saying I won't be including Bocce the Rock, as I can't judge it neutrally, being both a huge fan as well as a part of its staff. Yeah, I mean, really? Was there any doubt there? But this is, in the Eurovision context, this is similar to how a country can't vote for itself. So, like, the winning country can't exactly give itself 12 points. Like, that's not possible, right? So, yeah, Karorira has to sit one out, right? Like in Eurovision, okay? Everything in this is Eurovision, right? That's all I've got in my head right now. Anyway, best episode, My Dress Up Darling, episode 8. If I may be so presumptuous, as someone involved with the... Okay, hold on a minute. You just said you can't do this, and now you're doing this? Come on. This episode of My Dress Up Darling was a dream team, assembled thanks to Yusuke Kawakami's reputation. The series' comical nature, as well as the dramatic structure, are both a part of its charm. But this episode manages to strike a quieter tone that's quite a drastic change from the usual, with beautiful visuals and pleasing animation from beginning to end. Keisuke Kobayashi's corrections extend to the finest of details and breathe life into characters, which reaches its peak in the final beachside scene with Marin and Wakana and ends on a refreshing note. You'd be hard-pressed to make a more beautiful episode than that, when the symbolism of anime gives way to characters that feel alive. That is the moment I find most wonderful, and consider the ideal to strive for in anime, which is why I can safely say this episode's the best of 22. Best show, Love Live, Nijigasaki High School Idol Club Season 2. Wow, Love Live got a mention. Brilliant. Love Live, Nijigasaki High School Idol Club Season 2, say that 5 times fast, begins with more developed relationships compared to Season 1, and with the personalities of the new characters in the mix, I enjoyed it even more. From Lanzu's striking introduction in the first episode, expanding into vignettes featuring subunits, the season is constructed to make the characters even more likeable. The individual and subunit songs have powered up and are all great. The group songs are also wonderful. The opening and ending especially are the height of the polish you'd expect from an idol anime. Takumi Yokota's designs have evolved as well, with slightly more realistic proportions and neck widths. being able to incorporate details leaning on the side of realism as opposed to 2D-ish abstraction feels like it offers more flexibility in expression than Love Live has in the past. I will take a quick break to read chats. We got Kerorera is too powerful. Lol. Thanks, Yuki. I know, he is way too powerful. I have no idea how he manages to do this. We got Ginger here saying Kerorera already got his awards, he can't be stopped, and yet he gave himself another one. Ugh, dear me. And yeah, superpowers of Kerorera. Yeah, he just can't stop, can he? Right, best opening. Spy Family opening number 2. Link there. I mean, it's already been mentioned before, but there you go, you got another link. The second Spy Family opening is my favourite amongst Tetsuo Araki-san's shorter sequences. I really like the previous cool Masashi Ishihama opening as well, but I'm a fan of how this one has more domestic scenes, lending it a warmer feel. The seasonal outfits combined with the polished 3D work and compositing serve to enhance the character's charm. The structure that tells a story in its short length with visually impressive glamour shots mixed in all make it feel like a proper opening sequence. It's also the most effective use I've seen of the rainbow lens flare effect that's so popular these days. Do it yourself. Oh no, wait, I missed the line. Best animation designs, do it yourself. Yusuke Matsuo. Oh, another one. Maybe they should get Yusuke Matsuo in to do like a thing, because they're getting a lot of awards here. Do it yourself represents the ultimate form of cute girl animation, one that you could call the culmination of Yusuke Matsuo-san's work. The fact that he himself dramatically changes how it feels for episode 6 is amazing. This goes for Norifumi Kugai-san on Sunny Boy as well, but episodes where the character designer acts as animation director are the one time when it's perfectly valid for the art style to change freely, and when it's also the best possible move. It feels so much like cheating, but that's what makes it a treat. You love to see it. Thank you very much, Kerorera, for your contribution. Yeah, great section. I like reading that. That was cool. Right, on to the next person down here. Oh, God, I don't know who this person is. Bloody hell. Certainly not someone I talk to every day. It's Yuki. Hello, Yuki. Got to your bit now. Yeah, Yuki is someone I talk to all the time. She is a musician, artist, coder, writer. God, she does everything. Yeah. Oh my God. Right. You know, every single day I'm surprised, like, how much she does. It's crazy. Yeah. Oh, she's laughing like crazy in chat right now. But yes, it is crazy how much she does. Yeah, like, when you least suspect it, Yuki will just be popping up in random stuff, right? Yeah. Let's get to Yuki's section. I'm going to read it. Yuki probably has read it to herself many times already, but I will read it for you all now. Okay, best episode, Bocce the Rock, episode 8. No surprises there. Yeah, I definitely didn't see this one coming. All hail Bocce the Rock. I need to actually lower my voice, actually, because it's midnight, and I really don't want to disturb the neighbours, but yeah. Rightful overlord of this year's Sakugabowl, give me the prophesized bocce sweep, or give me death. That's what I would say. But in the spirit of fairness, and to share the love, this is the only award I'm dedicating to it. Oh, how fair and good you are, Yuki. Well done. There have been so many incredible shows that I can't just give every category to bocce, as good as it may be. Regardless though, God, did this episode ever hit? If you've ever seen it, Or even if you haven't, and just take a look at the episode title, you'll know that Nijika said the thing. And boy, do I ever love it when something successfully pulls off that sweet title drop. That moment coming right off Bocce's heroic moment where she came into her own and saved the performance. And of course, the moment of sincerity that the guitar hero reveal represented. Bocce's response to that whole situation is exactly how I would have dealt with it, as someone who also struggles with anxiety, albeit not to her extent. Relatability at its finest. Best opening, Ya Boy Kongmin opening. Link. No one's mentioned this so far, so yeah, if you want to have a look at Ya Boy Kongmin, link right here. Please don't tell me I'm the only one that sings this at night when trying to sleep, only to just get up and watch another episode of Paripi Korme. That last bit isn't exactly true, but point is, it's borderline impossible to not get this stuck in your head. And you know what? I'm all for it. Now, if there's actually a song that's as much as an earworm as the song from, what's it called? What did I watch tonight? Rise Your Wave, that's it. If there's a song that's as much of an earworm as that, I would be very surprised. But I'll continue. For more specific reasons, I love this opening so much. The intro part with the traditional flute going into that awesome Eurobeat is just the coolest turn for me. The sheer contrast, plus the fact that it makes narrative sense, is so neat. The general vibe of this eclectic sequence fits so damn well with the show itself too. Moving on. Best ending, Made in Abyss Season 2, ending. Link right here. I'm a huge fan of Made in Abyss to begin with, but this ending must have something special to it, given that I've had it on loop for ages, ever since it popped up on YouTube. The full version turned out to be even better, but the TV size is still amazing. I absolutely adore the visuals for the sequence, so weird and abstract, the type I just love to see. That and Myth and Droid simply don't miss. Dark but beautiful is a combo that always hits for me. Best music video, insert song sequence. Oh boy, I'm going to have to prepare myself for this one. Utopia, Love Live, Nijigasaki High School Idol Club Season 2, Episode 1. Link. There. Go. I will read chat after this paragraph. She said, "Let me show you." And then the light of God, trademark, returned to the world. I don't care what you think of her. Lanzu is an absolute queen who can gaslight, gatekeep, and girl boss me whenever she wants. Oh, that felt so good reading that. Oh, God. But more seriously, after her introduction to Love Live Nijikaku, oozed charisma from every pore, I found myself listening to Utopia for weeks on loop. Just rewatching that clip from the series after all this time, I can say it's still an absolute banger. It embodies her personality so well, and somehow makes people fall in love with her, no matter how haughty she may seem. To me, that sequence, and this song really are the best of the best. Let's have a look quickly at the chat. I don't know what halfway through lol means. The one thing about the chat is it's like a minute behind what I'm reading, so it's not. There's a massive delay. Ginger Frog saying, "I remember seeing the dance from Kongmin's OP become a trend online for a little while." I think it did. Feels so long ago. And yeah, Yuki's just commentating my wonderful reading of her writing. We'll read her final two paragraphs. Best aesthetic, cyberpunk edge runners. Okay, come on, you. Yes, you reading this. Wow, Yuki's speaking to me in her text. Right. Look at my face. I'm looking. And say that Sandevistan effect isn't cool. You can't, right? Honestly, I just love the aesthetics of the genre in general. But Cyberpunk Edgerunners really hit that note perfectly for me. The glitches and all the visual gimmicks they derive from it are super cool tricks to add to its charm. Even the opening and ending sequences, for as simple as they look, are pure eyegasm that complements it. Frankly, I'd say the same thing as I did with Bocce. It's so good. I could have easily given the series multiple awards, but I'm trying not to make this the Becca Bowl? Becca. Who's Becca? Becca Bowl Eva Lol. Oh, is there a person called Rebecca in Bocce? Dunno. Maybe? Creator discovery, Masanobu Hiraoka. Sakugabooru tag right here if you want to have a look. I just can't get over how simply awesome Masanobu Hiraoka's morphing animations are. This year, we've seen him represented in both Made in Abyss Season 2's ending and Aima's Chainsaw Man ending. Both incredible works of art, if you ask me. After this discovery, I can only say that I'm extremely excited to see what he works on next. Thank you very much, Yuki. That was brilliant. That was so nice to read, actually. It's actually really fun to read your writing. You should definitely write more. Also, absolutely go and follow Yuki. Yes, I want you to follow her. Now. Go. Now. Do it. Hurry up. While I have a read of Natasha. Now, Natasha, as I mentioned at the start of this recording, is a writer and general Twitter person that I've seen occasionally on the timeline. Saw her loads to begin with. But yeah, she's been around in the anime sphere for years at this point, and has been a regular Sakugabowl writer. Yes, you can follow her at this link right here, if you are not also doing that already. Righto. Okay. Excellent. Right. Bit of a stretch. Bit of a water break. We are 2/3 of the way through, I'd say. I think I'm near the end. How many have I got left? 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 I'm not scrolling up. I'm just going to check on my phone. How many have I got? Okay, only 3 to go, but then Kevin's is like the size of the Bible or something, so, you know. Let's go. Best episode of Natasha is Kaguya-sama Love is War Ultra Romantic Episode 5. No one's mentioned this series so far. Let's go. Good lord. Yeah, that water kind of went a bit weird there. So if I end up like pausing a bit, that's that going on. Like 2 or 3, I believe. Yes, I just checked that. At this point, Mamoru Hatakeyama needs no reintroduction. His prior experience in elevating manga material into dynamic medium is almost unmatched these days when it comes to TV adaptations. With 24 episodes under his belt for Kaguya-sama already, one could possibly think that the 3rd season would just be more of the same. Which is to say, Hatakeyama's typical creative hijinks as our 2 warriors continue to battle out their adolescence and feelings towards each other. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm going to just stop right there because, yeah, Yuki's going to bed. Right, so, yeah, thank you, Yuki, for staying up this long. It's been really good having you here. Right, okay. We're going to keep going. And yet, here I am, still thinking about the 6th episode months after its airing. That's not to say that this is necessarily the most creative episode of the year, not alongside giants like Pop Team Epic Season 2 and Bocce the Rock. However, I can't help but fall in love with the ways directors will go about having fun while working against schedules constraints, not to glamorize the insidious habits of the industry, but as a sign of respecting that kind of resourcefulness that those situations demand. Reverse working a scene by creating a wrapped first and then storyboarding while taking shortcuts to accommodate production issues, in addition to a solo animated ending that just elevates the experience. I've never had so much fun with a rom-com. Hatakeyama, as well as storyboarder Toshinori Watanabe and episode director Takayuki Kikuchi, deserve ample praise for their efforts here. Now, I'm going to just quickly do this. Hold on. What was this ending? I think this was... yeah. This is the one that Verkreek did. Oh, look, you can actually see my... Oh, look, you can... If you might be able to see my recommendations here. Look at that. You can see all the things I like. Ooh. Right, but yeah, that's cool. That's the ending that young animator Verkreek animated earlier this year. Very good. Very good stuff. I'm actually glad it actually got one mention at least. That was good. Yeah, very, very good. Let's move on to the honourable mention, and that is One Piece, episode 1015. I can't just ignore One Piece, episode 1015. I'm not exaggerating when I say that this episode blew away everyone's expectations, both anime and manga fans alike. Megumi Ishitani's work on this episode is nothing short of masterful, a recurring complaint I've noticed and can understand when it comes to the Wano arc as a whole is its reliance on heavy compositing effects for its dramatic action beats. Which, if you value clean animation, might get in the way of your enjoyment of otherwise great work. But from Yamato's emotional flashbacks to the inevitable fiery climax of Luffy hitting Kaido with Red Rock in a flash of rage and vengeance, this episode hits harder than ever, with a wider, more nuanced range of expression. Keisuke Mori and Bahi JD's weight are carried by her grasp of symbolism, eye for colour, a plethora of nice transition cuts, and more purposeful use of filters to create an immersive, harmonious piece of emotional catharsis. Right, best show. Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, The Owl House Season 2. Oh, we are actually getting some more Western animation. Hey, that's cool. Right, that's not British Sakuga, we're getting American Sakuga. Excellent. Right, so 2022 has had incredibly strong moments, from the emotional heights of One Piece to ambitious sequels like Pop Team Epic Season 2 and even original series like Licorice Recoil. But the two series that stole my heart were an expansion that concluded a 10-year legacy and a cartoon series that bravely navigated unknown terrains. Endwalker technically came out last year, but I had the joy of playing it in 2022. This is cheating. This is very cheating. Like this is as bad as actually no, it's not as bad as me watching, I don't know, Heidi for the first time or something, or Full Moon. But yeah, come on, it came out last year. I still find myself stunned at how it managed to not only bring together overarching plots and character developments from a 10-year-long epic fantasy story, but also tell an incredibly powerful tale about enduring the loss and pain from a pandemic that we're keen to put behind us. It's as anime will get after all. You're split between fighting high concepts of existential despair and running around with your found family to cheer folks up and bond over chai. Natsuko Ishikawa may as well be an anime scriptwriter herself, but what makes Endwalker stand out from the rest of its peers isn't how she makes it feel so weirdly anime. It's how she executes a multifaceted story about loss, love, and bearing the weight of the dead, while coming to terms with the burden of living. It's an incredibly earnest plea to hold on when everything else falls around you, and it is that plea that strikes true nearly a year after its release. And how can I not talk about the second season of Dana Terrace's The Owl House? It's a series that's leaving us far too soon, boasting some of the most nuanced, compelling storytelling in recent Western animation, paired with an incredible world and a dynamic cast of characters, even setting aside its mature treatment of a canonical queer immigrant girl and her coming-of-age tribulations. The Owl House is in every sense of the word fearless. Fearless in its ability to tackle complicated topics like honest communication and overcoming trauma while holding oneself accountable to making mistakes. Fearless in its challenge to squeeze in fascinating plot twists, with character arcs that have solid resolutions, and fearless in its charm to push the medium of animation, balancing atmospheres of horror with charm and acceptance of self-identity. I cannot help but be both entranced and heartbroken at how, despite all odds, it's come together with such a lasting poignance as I eagerly await its next and final chapters. Best Movie. Review Starlight the Movie. Alright. Anime has always been one of the best across mediums when it comes to exploring dramatics and theatrical presentation. And as someone who grew up with Bollywood, the combined aspects of this and the musical side made Review Starlight immediately feel right up my alley. Despite this, the TV series left many unresolved tugs at my heart. So many of the characters felt like set-piece dressing rather than fully fleshed out ideas. And this especially held true for the main pair, who ironically got most of the screen time towards the end. Enter Review Starlight the Movie, a concept that sought to address all of these issues with a mesmerizing 2-hour audio-visual experience. Sakugabowl has already dissected Tomohiro Furukawa's extraordinary vision behind this movie, and you can read the article right here. And so I won't go into too much detail. But it's a carefully controlled, chaotic mesh of Ikuhara, Yano, and Igarashi, 3 brilliant directors, each with their own towering vision and style. What makes Review Starlight the Movie succeed isn't just the high-octane dial-up of visual flourish and teenage angst, but the confidence of a director to kill its own god, figuratively and literally, and cut ties loose with the constraints of what makes a movie sequel and inspired visionary, while still paying tribute and creating your own kind of story. The entire sequence of superstar spectacle is possibly my favourite scene of the year, and is a reminder of why anime does indeed deserve to be brought to the big screen. We have some stuff in chat as well, praising the mention of Owl House earlier on in Natasha's section. I'm really happy with that. I'm really happy that Owl House is getting mentioned in the awards here. Really nice. Yeah. I'm just as happy with Owl House getting it as good old The Boy, the Horse, Mole, Fox, featuring Idris Elba as the Fox. Just saying. You can watch that. Do also keep saying things in chat. It gives me something to say. Alright. Best opening. Call of the Night opening. Barring the fact that it's most likely my real favourite anime of the year, Call of the Night's opening just oozes grooviness, style, and sharpness despite constraints in animation. Whether is its use of contrasting cool colours and umetsu-like weaving of the credits into the opening itself, or matching fun transitions and cuts with a jam of a song, Call of the Night's opening visually immerses you in letting yourself go and having a good time. Best ending. Chainsaw Man. All the endings. Okay, well, at least you only wrote 1 paragraph about them instead of 12. Thank you. Thanks, Natasha. Yes, this is cheating, but how do you expect me to pick from the rich showcase that were the 12 endings of Chainsaw Man? Like the 12 Days of Christmas, many of them feel like a direct inspiration from the variety and creativity that was brought to the Monogatari franchise. So much that ending number 5 and 7 come across like a response back to Monogatari's Math Magic's opening and the Kogarashi Sentiment opening. If I had to really pick two favourites, Hitomi Carrier's solo work on ending number 2 is charming and a flex of colour design and line work, as is Masanobu Hiraoka's work on ending number 8, where he continues to demonstrate an unmatched understanding of morphing and transformation in both a grotesque and entrancing manner. Honourable mention, Komi Can't Communicate, ending number 2. Koki Fujimoto's carefully detailed storyboard, brought to life by the talented Hanako Ueda and other Beyblade animator friends, is one of the most quietly charming sequences of the year, and brings to life so many of the characters and their relationships with each other, all in the brief setting of getting ready to go home. I always love when anime uses rotoscoping to explore new heights and advantages, and this ending is no exception. Best aesthetic, Yoku. Link, here's the link. Go to it. I've never seen this before. I don't know what this is. So this will be cool. I'm a huge sucker for Mai Yoneyama's designs. I know who that is though. They balance illustrative qualities with room for fluid human expression. And nothing, I think, encapsulates this better than her work on the Yoku music video. Whichever form the intimate body expression takes, an entrancing blink of an eye, or the delicate movement of hands reaching for the sky, Yoneyama captures our constant need to express ourselves with gentle screen effects matching head to head with some eloquent animation. By pairing an analog-like monochrome focus on simple light and shadow contrast with a stereo and colour-filled world of imagination and beauty, Yoneyama shows us that composite, digital work, character design, and animation can all work together collaboratively to create an animated piece that enhances a song's meaning. Honourable mention is Mafu Mafu Shiori. I've had my eye on Asuka Dokai since Brave New World last year because of their seeming love, soft colours, and joyful, naive expressions when it comes to youth. That's seen again in an equally stunning music video for Mafu Mafu, which just draws you in so easily into its world. There's some Studio Colorido inspired inspiration here, but I in particular just love the usage of cool colours to create an ambience of reflection and charm. And the creator discovery is Hanako Ueda, and you can see all of their works right here. So all her works are right here. Okay. In my journey to follow more women in the industry over the year, I found myself constantly gravitating to the performances of Hanako Ueda, mainly her work on Komi-san's second season, as well as her ending for Summertime Render. It's been deeply satisfying to watch how she grew from a key piece within Studio OLM, with roles like her Beyblade Burst solo animation efforts, to an artist with the ability to further develop her own unique style and vision. This is especially seen in Summertime Render's second ending, where she brings out her love for soft blues, watercolours, and poignant human expressions. But even outside her ability to create charming opening and ending sequences, she's also played a pivotal role in ensuring solid animation and production across tight schedules. I'm incredibly excited for whatever she decides to tackle next. Alright, 2 to go. 2 to go, everyone. Boy, you ever feel like if you watch like Man vs. Food and you see that guy just eating like a 5-pound meal or something, like this big old thing, you're probably thinking this while I'm reading this whole thing out loud. Yeah, don't do this. I've barely had half of my water actually. It's actually quite crazy. But I am going to have a water break. Water has never tasted so good. Oh, lovely. Right. As I get to the second to last person, it is now currently 1:01 in the morning, UK time, and we have 2 to go. Remember, continue to share this stream link to people and make them see my suffering. And continue to talk in the chat too. Alright. And the person we have got right here is Franziska van Wolfen, who is an animator and VTuber. So Franziska von Wolfen is a VTuber, does lots of art on Twitter. You can follow right here, and you can have a look at all of the stuff that they've done in anime right here on this link. So, without further ado, let's go through this one here. So, best episode was Cyberpunk Edge Runners, episode 6. Another nomination for that one. Right, so while Cyberpunk Edge Runners didn't quite capture my attention like it has with most people, episode 6 blew all my expectations out of the water. Considering it was Kai Ikarashi drawing the boards for this episode, I was on board to begin with, and after watching it, I can confidently call this episode my favourite work of his now. Edge Runners' world is more often than not a hostile and uncaring place, though it wasn't until this episode that I could feel this expressed through every fibre. The harsh colour palette, the stark blacks used for shading, the jagged, rough shapes, all that paired with the oppressive, eye-catching compositions make for an unbelievably tense experience. There are palpably different moods in the episode, each assigned its own limited colour palette. Despite that, the vision feels coherent, culminating in the tragedy this episode is building up to. The shocking violence never takes away from the underlying desperation and sadness. It more so adds to the feeling of inevitably of what to come. Short and long term, a grim reminder for the rest of the show's runtime. From start to finish, I'm adding H's everywhere, dearie me. From start to finish, delicately constructed, both horrifying and somber at the same time. I'm really showing my tiredness now, bloody hell. Right, best show is, no surprise, Bocce the Rock. Right, okay, Bocce the Rock. Franziska von Wolfen actually worked on Bocce the Rock as well as animation director on, I think it was episode, oh god, I'm gonna look really bad now, aren't I? I can't remember, but they were on it. They were an animation director. 12. 12? No, it's not episode 12. God, yeah, one of the episodes. God, I can't be asked to look it up now. It's too late. No other show had me feel so much joy as Bocce the Rock did. It's hard to even call it a feel-good show. Bocce's social anxiety often hits too close to home for me, but that alone is a testament to its prowess, I believe. Anime isn't a stranger to the shy, anxious character archetype. However, rarely did I feel so compelled by one of them like I did with Bocce. While, from an outside, a simple premise, every aspect in the adaptation plays a role in getting us into Bocce's headspace as successfully as it does. From quirky experimental animation to the layouts, all in their own way paint a part of Bocce's headspace. Stellarly so, I'd say. The show never drags, and the dialogue feels wonderfully punchy. The believably written characters move at times hilariously, at times with weight and care, really breathing life into them. This is significantly aided by Kerorira's absolutely lovely character designs. While quite simple and low in line count, depth is easily conveyed in its shapes, making the small, delicate movements a real treat. Fussed as much as the absolutely delightful comedic outbursts, of course. The constantly repeating fits of experimental animation using any kind of material they could find to perfectly portray Bocce's inner world won't go overlooked by anyone. The whole show is an absolute creative powerhouse, easily garnering love from all over the world, and deservedly so. Best ending. Chainsaw Man ending number 3 and number 5. Chainsaw Man did not only coin one, but two of my favourite endings of the whole year. Excuse me. In some ways, they give us a glimpse of the Chainsaw Man anime that could have been. While by no means a bad show, I really enjoyed the portrayal of the more mundane moments in particular. It was in the stranger and violent moments where I felt the adaptation didn't quite convey the glorious absurdity of the source material. However, these endings got my back in this regard. Ending 3's eclectic direction with strikingly wild and violent visuals is what I wish Chainsaw Man's action scenes would have been more like. Blood pulsing, chaotic colours, and rough line work, easily portraying Benji and Powers' temper, while also including glimpses of Aki's collected nature within the madness as a contrast. On the other hand, ending number 5 is a head-tilting and tense, showering the viewer with a beautiful yet distressing imagery, never-ending loops as the visual elements become more and more bizarre, correlating with the increasingly unhinged and desperate mental states the characters experience in this arc. Right, okay. Actually, wow, Kevin's section probably isn't as long as I think it would be, but hey, we're getting there. Best Aesthetic, Made in Abyss Season 2. Made in Abyss is back, and with it, a strange, terrifying, yet beautiful world. The Abyss can be a cruel world, yet there are glimpses of warmth to be found, with this season in particular being full of contrasts. The beautiful plains of the Sixth layer of the Abyss, lush and comforting in colour, are frequented by gigantic, hostile creatures. While majestic, they are jagged in design. Their long and sharp limbs are impossibly huge, immediately making our protagonist feel small and out of place. Similarly, the town of Ilblue, I think I read that right, Ilblue, is somehow lively, colourful, and showered in warm sunlight. It initially comes across as one of the few friendly sights the protagonists have stumbled upon on their journey, but we eventually notice the unfathomable darkness behind it all. Visually, this is probably best portrayed in the members of the town itself. There is a incoherence to them, not just among each other, but individually. While some of the designs feel straight up alien, others are at least at first sight cute before one notices the disgusting secondary design elements about them. The coin can't exist without these two sides to it. The show, for better or worse, never shies away from portraying flesh, secretions, and fluids uncomfortably exuding out of characters who look cute on the surface. In all these ways, Made in Abyss is purposeful in its visual approach, portraying a world full of awe, but one where something always seems a bit off. Best animation designs is Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. That's Maria Takashira, Yuri Toida, and Hirotoshi Takaya. Right, 3 people on this one. Right, Do It Yourself and Bocce the Rock certainly have the best designs in terms of animation friendliness. The amount of joy their characters exude in their movements in both of these shows is testament to that. That said, Gwitch easily wins this category for me in regards to the designs themselves. Their overall style is appealing, maintaining certain groundedness despite cartoonish features like Choo Choo's glorious poofy twin tails and Gil? I'm going to say Gil. I probably pronounced it wrong. Eccentric pink hair streak. And they've got an eye-catching degree of variety on the whole. Each and every character seems to have been given a consideration about their background and personality put into them, with an array of body types and face shapes, something I'm not always used to from anime. Despite most of the characters wearing the same school uniform, there are twists and variations that feel unique to each of them. At times, they don't even feel like the same uniform at all. So much for uniformity. This thoughtfulness makes the already charismatic cast burst with personality, not just in their interactions, but through their visual presence alone. Thank you very much. Franziska, for that. Very good. And now we get to the final boss. Kevin. Oh boy. I've been preparing myself and stealing myself all night for this bit. Right. We'll have some water. Right. Let's do it. Let's read this bit. Right. Kevin. Me. If by any chance you are one of the very few people that don't follow Kevin already, you can follow Kevin on Twitter right here. I mean, if you're interested in this video or even Sakuga in general, you probably already do follow Kevin. So, I don't know. Follow him, I guess. He's alright. He's my rival. Probably. I don't know. Right, let's read this. I'm going to get vaguely comfy on my chair. Right, okay. Oh, he's got a lot, actually. Right, okay, so, yeah. Best episode is 86, episode 22, and the Gundam, Mobile Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. Wait a minute, hold on. Is there a specific episode? I don't know. Or is that? There's no episode 22 here, but whatever. Build versus Kevin. Yeah. Well, I'll read all this. Don't worry. I've been noting that the full 2022 season of anime felt exceptional in the sheer quantity of great TV anime we've been blessed with. Though unlike actual heavenly gifts, this has come at a clear cost of barren surrounding seasons and plenty of labour crimes. And also, note, not labour crime as in pat labour, labour crime as in workplace problems, right? Yeah, just saying. When it came down to finally sitting down and choosing my favourite episodes of the year, though, the recency of such a season made picking the absolute best one weirdly complicated. I don't just mean this in the sense that there are many candidates, but rather how this season has somewhat numbed me to the excellence of its shows, normalising what would normally be TV anime highlights. My favourite titles have been so consistently strong that I don't have it in me to single out one moment because their greatness is in the whole. Wait, so do you mean like this bit here is a lie? Alright, maybe we'll get to this later. But anyway. It's not like Ochi the Rock, Do It Yourself, Mob Psycho Season 3, Yamano Susume, and Next Summit haven't had particularly memorable moments. But rather that there's so many of them that those highlights feel like normalcy for those titles. Even in a case like Gossel's Chainsaw Man Episode 8, where I feel like the episode is heads and shoulders above the rest of the show, it's a peak over an already extraordinary production effort, and in many ways coherent with the philosophy behind the entire adaptation, even if I feel like it was an order of magnitude more confident and poignant than usual. Which is to say that, congratulations, fall of 2022, you completely defeated me. You were so good that I lost the ability to differentiate between levels of greatness. Realizing that got me to reflect on the rest of the year, specifically seeking out the episodes that clearly stuck out from their own series. Kaguya-sama Season 3 brought to life some of anime's best rom-com in ostentationally silly fashion, despite the deck being stacked against them. But again, there's an article here, anyway. But again, be it Mamoru Hatakeyama's episodes or contributions by his acquaintances like Nobukage Kimura, the show normalized its greatness to the point that individual episodes don't really stand out. Good lord. I feel like Kevin's stuff is actually making me get a bit defeated myself. Oof, dear. I have similar feelings about Licorice Recoil. Even with its clear, pure animation standout in Tetsuya Takeuchi's episode 4, the likes of Akebi's Sailor Uniform and Nidra's Up Darling definitely had episodes that stand over the rest. I found Shoko Nakamura's Yamada Like Akebi episode 3 and Yusuke Kawakami's brilliant debut in Bisque episode 8 to be particularly excellent, though they're again attached to such consistent productions that they're not what I set out to find this time. So, what did I settle on in the end? There are 2 episodes in particular that I felt were singularly great in a way that really resonated with me. The first one was the return of Toshimasa Ishii for 86, episode 22. The episode itself is perfectly consistent with his vision for the series as a whole. So rather than a radical reinvention, what shocked me to the core is the moment when it arrived. The moment for the production that had been collapsing across the second core of the series as the dodgy planning finally caught up with the staff, even forcing a long delay for the last 2 episodes. And yet, its return was so impactful, you would never have thought that you'd... Hold on, what? Oh, God. And yet, its return was so impactful, you would never have thought that you'd never have thought there were so many problems behind the scenes. Wow, that line reads really weird. Perhaps more impressively was the moment within the narrative. Ishii is gifted when it comes to threading animation together, with an ability to modulate transitions according to his needs. He may use match cutting that's smoother than butter if he needs to emphasize the flow, or take the absolute opposite route with L cuts employing asynchronous diegetic sounds as the wake-up call to the viewer, forcing them to pay notice to the change that occurred. While he's not reinventing the wheel, the sheer variety of techniques he uses and the ability to find a way to connect those with the overall thesis of his works have helped him quickly stand out as a director. The first core of 86 brilliantly weaponized that, with the folding structure of the show itself, where Ishii's impactful transitions bring us back and forth between a hopeless war and a corrupt bourgeois society. Look, I'm not going to say the whole thing, because I'll definitely say it wrong, so I'll say bourgeois. Bourgeois. I'm going to go with bourgeois. Bourgeois. That's quite nice to say. That said, the second half of the series has a much more streamlined narrative, which forced Ishii to find new tricks, and that he did. This penultimate episode in particular ties another technique that he likes, the manipulation of aspect ratio, to the increasingly more narrow-minded vision, physically so, of a protagonist who's lost his goal in life. Coupled with those sleek transitions of his and excellent sound direction, the episode is one of the best showcases of directorial prowess I've seen in recent TV anime. Ishii really is that good. No, not bodgy, bourgeois. To my own surprise, I realised I held in this high regard is the prologue to Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. Did he say prologue up there? He didn't! He should have said that. Oh. Whatever. Dear me. Okay. To my, prologue. Right. As someone who quite enjoyed what I've seen from the TV show itself, it's not as if I find it to be of a completely different level of quality, though the animation is clearly a notch above a show that is compromised due to severe production issues. Instead, it's the self-contained quality that also fits neatly within a larger work. Dear me. Good lord, this section is actually a lot. Right. Will I get to the end? what I love about it so much is how, thanks in part to Ichiro Okochi's distaste of subtlety, it immediately establishes a worldview that could make it stand on its own. Had this been all there was to the project, I'd already consider it a successful Gundam alternative universe. A window to yet another universe torn apart from war, capital, and cool robots. And yet, at the same time, it was kept people wondering about the significance of its events in the context of Gwitch's overarching narrative. Given that the idea to make this prologue come after writing the first episodes of the show, according to Okochi himself, the way it works on multiple levels is remarkable. And that ending, already one of those memorable Gundam moments as far as I'm concerned. No. Right, so honourable mention is Tatami Time Machine Blues, Episode 1. Had Shingo Natsume turning back the clock to the time of Tatami Galaxy in a way that even Yuasa didn't, and likely couldn't, do nowadays. That series clearly meant as much to him as a creator as it did to me as a viewer. But as much as I loved that episode, well, it's not an episode, but rather a chunk of something that was made as a film. Great one, though. Shout out to the pure animation spectacle of Pre-Connect Series 2, Episode 4, and to Megumi Ishitani's One Piece, Episode 1015, which is somehow only her second greatest contribution to the series this year. Ishitani is simply a monster. Right, and the best show, of no surprise, is Bocchi the Rock. Whoa, okay, I got, what? Oh, this is just random things. Oh, that's okay. That's okay, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. Yeah, okay, cool. We will now read the Bocchi the Rock section. For as much as I struggle to identify my favourite episodes of the year, picking the best show was a cakewalk. Mind you, I still second-guess myself for a second because my brain is poorly wired like that. But there's no arguing about it. Bocchi the Rock is my show of the year, if not already an all-timer for me. While I usually favour original works, and 2022 certainly has had some interesting ones, the reason I treasure those experiences is the feelings that they bring something entirely new to the table. As an adaptation that sticks to the narrative beats of the original work, in a well-established genre at that, it wasn't in Bocchi's cards to offer a completely new worldview or premise. What this team has done, though, is creating animation in an original way. So the experience did end up feeling like something I'd never seen before regardless. That process never came at the cost of emotional resonance, but rather was employed as a sometimes quirky, sometimes grand way to amplify the manga's solid foundation. The thesis of newbie series director Keiichiro Saito has been proven right over and over, as has his fostering of creativity throughout the team. I find it very significant that so much of Bocchi's experimental work is made by standard 2D animators, whom we'd never seen let loose like this, proving that with enough boldness and the right guidance, we could have more commercial works this creative. In the way it exposes that, Bocchi makes me both more and less optimistic about anime as a whole. But since it's such a brilliant show, the optimism wins out over it in the end. I'd say that I'll spare you a more in-depth look at what makes Bocchi so extraordinary, but that's a lie. It's just that I've already extensively published that on the website in 2 articles. This man has written 2 other articles on Bocchi. If you really want to read what he wants to think about Bocchi, he's already written a load. But yeah, he likes Bocchi. While I'm not the kind of person to wish for sequels to projects that stand out precisely because of how fresh they are, I think there's plenty of room for their brilliance to continue on this series. And just as importantly, Bocce's solid source material still hasn't said all it needs to by this point in the story, so it would benefit from continuing narratively and thematically as well. He is hoping that the already busy staff find time for it. Yep, yeah, like, it's been really popular and really good. Hey, maybe we'll get some more bocce. Right, honourable mention. The way that Shingo Adachi took a messy original scenario and reformulated it into a buddy cop movie premise, threw in all sorts of fun movie cliches, and then allowed the result to be shamelessly anime-like really endeared me. Licorice Recoil owns. Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised considering how big Licorice Recoil actually was over the summer. It's actually gotten a lot less attention in the bowl than I would have thought. But then again, Bocce really has overshadowed a lot of this year. And also recency bias also is a thing, but I really think Bocce has it's completely decimated everything. So even something like Licorice Recoil can't even stand up against Bocce. Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. How dominant Bocce has been. Wow, am I still getting messages? Wow. What? Oh, okay. I'm getting very distracted. But no. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah. Mega X actually raises a good point as well. That yeah, Licorice Recoil didn't actually get as many nominations as originally thought. And yeah, again, the dominance of Bocce is pretty major. Okay, so we go to the best movie, Inuo. Now, I'm really sad about Inuo because I missed out on watching it here in the cinemas. So I'll have to get it on Blu-ray or watch it eventually. But yeah, very sad about that. I really wanted to watch that in the cinema. If you'd asked me what my favourite animated movie of the year was, right after watching all of them, I'd have said it was Inuo, without thinking about it for a single second. This isn't meant to be backhanded praise to imply that it didn't stand further scrutiny, or even that those feelings have faded with time. It's just that the movie rightfully leaves that strong of a first impression. It's an appeal to the senses so radical that you'd have to go as far back as Kemonozume to see a Masaki Yuasa this wild, and for right about any other director, you just wouldn't find a comparable work. Inuo is a performance of a movie about performing, and even when it's not offering an electrifying feudal rock spectacle, its visceral quality is evident. From the diffuse, painterly animation that depicts the world as perceived by a blind kid to the otherworldly musical acts, this movie is dedicated to fulfilling the wish of its characters. They wanted the world to know that they had existed, that they were there. And watching Uo, you can feel it. I also missed out another film, and that is A Bite of Bone. But we're going to go back here. Wow, he's written a lot about this thing. Right, while Inuo has had that positively devastating immediate impact, there's been another movie that has been stuck in my back of my head for months. A Bite of Bone is a short film by independent creator Honami Yano, who created something that is highly specific as it is universal. If I say that she used this project to get something off her chest, I'm not even being overly presumptuous in my assumptions. She said as such in interviews and even on her own site. Yeah, you can probably read those if you want to. Having grown in a small island rooted in old traditions, Yana was shocked when following her father's death and cremation. She was offered one of his bones to take a bit off, the tradition of hone kami, which has people bite, if not outright eat, a bone of the deceased to make them a part of yourself. She couldn't bring herself to do that, and that regret became inseparably linked to another memory of that past, the presence of a warehouse of explosives in her remote island, a sordid reminder that they were, in a way, conveyors of death, an island that represented her birthplace, but also death, in multiple forms. That's the contradiction she couldn't swallow. Yano's way of processing this involved embracing that contradiction. Rather than lying to herself about it, a bite of bone tackles those heavy topics, but it does so through visuals that evoke the hazy memories of a child. Since it's not now, but in the past, she opted away from using properly digitized animation, instead bringing the idea of photography back to its roots. And what's more interesting is what she was filming. Yano decided to animate those memories through pointillism. There's a link here about this. I'll have to look at that one later. Which resulted in a style that embodies that childlike charm, the lack of clarity you'd actually seek to best represent old memories, and also enable both the flow of her animation and the contrast with the inseparable spectre of death. The synergy between materials and themes from an author who always seeks that is impressive on an intellectual level. There's another picture here. But more personally, this movie has kept me wondering about how something like animation, like many other creative tasks, can play a role in processing grief. You know what? Art is pretty rad. Yeah, do you know what? Like, I haven't even heard of this film. Like, no, as far as I'm concerned, no one's talked about this. Maybe someone has, but I haven't heard of this. I will have to seek that one out. Hey, it's always cool when you get to see something new being talked about. It means that you can experience something new. I like new stuff. Sometimes. Right. Best opening is Chainsaw Man opening number 1. Over the last few years, Shingo Yamashita has made its way into a very exclusive list. That of the greatest opening and ending directors of all time. In the same way that not all of those are actually suited to lead longer form works, something that can't be said of Yama. Many brilliant directors actually lack the ability to condense their greatness into 1 minute and a half. It's a very different skill set, and perhaps most importantly, it's a different mentality. Arguably even more than the regular episode or series director, these opening-ending maestros have to balance an understanding of the work and some ability to summarize its appeal with pure, unadulterated selfishness. All the greats in this field are self-indulgent, uncompromising in their quirks, bending works to their style while convincing the viewer that they're doing the opposite. And that very much applies to Yama, in the same way that it does to the likes of Masashi Ishihama and Yasuomi Umetsu. Given that he's been particularly busy this year, I actually have multiple Yama sequences to choose from. In the end, I decided to go with his opening for Chainsaw Man, for the simple reason that the degree of difficulty there felt the highest. Capturing the full width of Tatsuki Fujimoto's appeal is no easy feat in a whole TV series. The actual show can attest to that, which means that doing so in a short sequence, and one when you're embracing all your personal quirks at that, should be nearly impossible. And yet here we are, with an addictive opening that packs in countless movie references that allude to the author's eclectic taste. Plenty of narrative teasers, twists on Yama's classic techniques, and some kick-ass action on top of it all. Honorable mentions, we have Nekotomi Chow is a director bursting with fun visual ideas, and the Shikimori opening gives a small taste of that. We have Yojiro Arai's Colorido-like opening for do-it-yourself is the most joyful one of the year, but the biggest surprise is Tetsuro Araki having something as warm as the Spy Family opening 2 in him. Wow, Best Ending is very cheaty because it kind of combines like several things together. Like you already had one person do all Chainsaw Man endings. Now we got someone else doing all, and someone else that did Yamasusu's all endings. Now, Kevin's like, I'm gonna have all the Chainsaw Man endings and all the Yamasusu endings in the Best Ending section. And then somehow only manages to write one paragraph. That's brilliant. Oh, man. This article. Right, so the best ending is Chainsaw Man All Endings, playlist link, and Yama no Susume Summit All Endings, and it's only ending 1 link. Before I continue, Mega X mentioning Shikimori's opening, utterly fantastic and deserve more mentions. I haven't seen it. Is it linked? No. Right. Oh, wait. Maybe? Well, there's a link to Kevin's Twitter, so that's good enough for me. I'll have a look at it on YouTube at some point. I'll probably forget tomorrow because all of this article is a blur at this point. Chainsaw Man opting to run with nearly a dozen trendy artists for the music and visuals of their ending sequences, giving room for the stylization that was not allowed within the show itself. Makes a lot of sense when you think about it, but it's still so much work that it's astonishingly pulled through. Although I do have favourites, link, it's the initiative as a whole that I find amazing. Oh dear, it's me indigestion playing up already. Oh, not good. My body is refusing to continue, but I'm pushing through. Right. And getting about as many endings out of living legend and noted animation cryptic. Yeah, okay. Ko Yoshinari, whose methods are so unusual and demanding that projects are lucky to even have him as a guest once. The original request for his Yama no Susume Next Summit appearance was only for one sequence, and yet he kept making more, to the point that his appearance in the staff book points out that he had more ideas floating around still. I don't even know what to say about this. It shouldn't be possible, but it's real. Bless Aninari. Honourable mentions, we've got I casually stumbled upon Natsumi Uchinuma's ending for More Than a Married Couple But Not Lovers and absolutely adored it. Link there. Although there have been other great endings, I found myself treasuring that sweet surprise. Whew. Okay. Best music video, Where the Wind Blows. And another mention for that one. You can't teach what Soti and Megumi Ishitani have. It's innate, intimate, respectful in its depiction of loss, and with a feeling of complete effortlessness. Not because they don't put any work into it, but because the imagery comes naturally to them, to the point that this barely had an actual storyboard. Genius. How do you want me to pronounce this X here? Is it Genius Genius? Genius X Genius? Genius Cross Genius? Oh, so many things going into my head right now. But not as bad as this honourable mention here. Yeah, Sakugabowl is very, very, what's the word? Self-indulgent, I would say. Yeah, mentioning Niji Sanji. Oh, dear, he can't help himself, can he? Right, Niji Sanji Unit Festival, a music video, a series of music videos. Who cares? Event of the year arriving at the end of it, day 3 unmatched. God, he might as well be talking a different language. I don't know what that means. Right, best aesthetic. Do it yourself. Do it yourself is good. Yeah. Right, so Inuo is unbeatable when it comes to the sheer number of memorable, impactful visual styles, and there's certainly pointed approaches as the film's best. That said, I think there's no real competition when it comes to the greatest aesthetic accomplishment of the year. Every single element in Do It Yourself. Oh god, it's that word. Poots. Right. Every single element in Do It Yourself poots with each other. And with the theme of handcrafted creation in a way no other title this year does. Frankly, in a way few commercial works ever do. The minute, not minute, God. The minute tricks to add cohesion to the show's presentation are neat. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to the team having perfectly figured out what they were doing and getting everyone on the same page. DIY is the ideal form of collective creation. Oh, we're almost there. Best animation designs is The Orbital Children. It's Kenichi Yoshida. I am a big fan of Kenichi Yoshida. Big fan of Kenichi Yoshida. His work on Eureka 7 and G-Record are awesome. I love it. And I'm glad Yoshida's getting a shout out here. Very happy. Right. It's of course up to debate which designs take the crown in 2022. But if we're talking which have had the most quantifiable positive effect, the Utilitarian Award has to go to Kerorira's work on Bocce the Rock. They abide by the traditional rules of good design work, with recognisable silhouettes paired with body language that always tells you what those characters are like. At the same time, they're excellent animation designs. The series director's decision to lower the line count that Kerorira was initially aiming for has definitely paid off, allowing them to make a show that moves a lot, does so in a fun and deliberate way as well. It's thanks to them and the designer's Herculean effort that Bocce actually finished within a schedule that began looking ugly by the end of it. But what are the best designs overall? Regardless of context, the genuinely unfair overlap of two TV shows with Yusuke Fugo Matsuo designs very well deserves to take the cake. It showcases his consistent ideology across different visual styles, because at the end of the day, what matters is how he approaches animation and what that enables in his teams, rather than the particular shapes he fancies on that day. But since I've already given Yamano Susume Next Summit and Do It Yourself their dues in other categories, I'd rather dedicate this to one Kenichi Yoshida, most notoriously for his work on Mitsuo Iso's The Orbital Children, though his work on G-Record looks as appealing as ever. Love it when G-Record gets mentioned. My guy, Tomino getting that one bump in this. Thank you. Leading up to the release of The Orbital Children, Iso called Yoshida a dying breed, if not an already extinct one. To his eyes, most people approach that role as simply drawing design sheets rather than actually designing. They hired animators who happen to get the job, but they don't think about the storytelling implications it has. In contrast to those, and on top of his already charming style, Yoshida is very conscious of how much he can say about the world, the tone, and of course the characters themselves through each and every choice he makes. Right, even if that proactive mindset gets you to clash heads when visions don't perfectly align, that can also lead to the evolution of the work past the initial ideas. I may not have as pessimistic of a view as Iso does, but looking at his work and how it interacts with the worlds it inhabits, I absolutely understand where that praise comes from. And it helps that, as I said, it looks so damn charming to boot. Honourable mention, another special shout out to Licorice Recoil, cute, memorable designs, and most impressively effective in their animation role, despite those sheets being drawn by a mangaka like Imigimuru. Yeah, okay. Creator discovery. We got Sakura Watabe and Sakura Yamazaki. You can have a look at the tag here if you would like. It just so happens that my favourite discoveries of the year share a name, while also being very different circumstances. Throughout Bocchi the Rock's very efficient animation effort, I've come to multiple realizations. How effective Tomoki Yoshikawa's character articulation can be as a storytelling tool, the extent of Yusuke Kawakami's versatility, or the fact that Kerorira isn't human at all, to name a few. None of those were outright reveals to me, but rather confirmations of inklings I already had to different degrees. In contrast to that, though the appearance of Sakura Watabe in this Umepi Dream Team across 2022, but especially in Bocchi, was something that took me by surprise. Similarly to her peers, her work is already a lot more articulate than you'd expect from a newbie. And it's got a distinct flavour because of the mindful mentality you can see behind it. Watabe's work is calculated, but not in an overly cold way. It feels as if she's constantly winking at you as she shows a hint about the character you never noticed before, rather than beating you over the head with it. As her technical skill continues to improve, her detail-oriented style is one to look out for. And if it's potential we're talking about, no difference now. I'm really excited about what Sakura Yamazaki may bring to the table. Her is not a name you've likely to have seen in animation credits, by which I mean she's only officially worked in commercial animation once. That said, Yamazaki was a rather successful independent animation maker across all her student days, which even allowed her to hold a personal animation exhibit where she formulated her bold, intriguing goal. She wants to find ways to combine the greatest qualities of independent art, something appreciable in the wide variety of materials and textures in her personal work, with those of commercial animation, with its wider reach and the ability to tackle larger scale narratives. She's gone on to join a Kyoto Animation that's in the midst of a process to rejuvenate the team. And although she's very much a newbie, it does feel that they've already caught on to her skill. Yamazaki passed the key animations exam still a trainee, and I wouldn't be surprised if she ended up becoming a director in record time as well, if her creative desires don't clash too much with the rigid nature of commercial anime. We might have someone really special here. Support us on Patreon to help us reach our new goal to sustain the animation archive at Sakugabowl, Sakuga Video on YouTube, as well as this Sakuga blog. Thanks to everyone who's helped out so far. Is anyone still here? Is anyone still there? Oh no. Is anyone still here? I've reached the end. I have reached the end. I'm going to refresh the page. Oh, hello, Bitmap. Yes, I do always crack up whenever I have to read Sakuga Video. But yeah, I'm refreshing the page just to check if there's any more comments. There's only one more. But yes. Hello, everyone. Oh, God. You gotta think, the second comment was made 3 hours ago when I started recording. Oh my god. I bet you any money all the corrections that I've noted in this video have already been fixed, probably. And there was only two, which is really shocking. Like, for 19,000 words, there was only two that I noticed. Like, two or three. It was, like, top props to Kevin and Bitmap and everyone else, and all the writers on this, because bloody hell. This was nuts. Absolutely nuts. Wow. Actually crazy. Yeah, but it is crazy. But like, first of all, it's crazy that, the Boru is able to get people onto a nice article about awarding things and talking about their favorite things in the year. Especially not Kevin's part. Kevin's part was very long. But actually a lot shorter than I expected. I actually thought his one was going to be like half the article or something. Yeah, like that was long. Also, that was a weird notification there. Whatever. I finally go back up to the top of the page. But, yeah, like, wow. Oh my god, that just went on forever. But then some of those bits were really short, which I quite liked. I quite liked those small vignettes in the middle. Yeah, there were some great parts I really enjoyed reading. Ones where I could really stress certain bits as well. So, it was a really enjoyable read. So I imagine that most people who read this would probably take about half an hour. I've taken about 3.5, something like that. It's taken about twice as long as the 10,000 word autumn anime one. I imagine Kevin, if he is gonna be doing one for winter, it's probably gonna be a lot shorter. Or at least I hope so, right? I hope it's shorter. Yeah, like, damn. 19,000 words, huh? Right. But yes, thank you to everyone that stuck along with the stream. I don't know how many we had turn up for this stream. I don't know if you actually stayed for all 3.5 hours. Big props to you. Big props to you if you stayed for all 3.5. Right? If you manage that much, damn, you're very dedicated. Thanks to everyone who wrote in this article as well, and everyone who edited it, and everything else. And if I've forgotten to follow any of you lot on Twitter, which I'm pretty sure I have, I will probably do that soon. And if you haven't followed them, you should probably do that. Also, you should definitely watch this wonderful film right here, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse, because it's British and I really want people to see it. It's pretty good. Really want people to watch that. Yeah. All the videos work now. They weren't working earlier, but now all the videos work. That's pretty cool. So I'll probably go clicking through things and checking what everything is soon or later. But there we go. Look, even scrolling through like this, it takes forever. I love this person here. I love reading these, even though they're so long. And yeah, I loved reading this as well. So, I didn't even finish all my water, all 750 ml. I think I've got like a third of a bottle left. I'm actually that was pretty impressive. But yeah, I'm going to end the stream here. I will now say this now. The time is 5 minutes to 2, UK time. That is the end of our broadcast. It is now the 2nd of January 2023. This is Build Knuckle. After having read 19,000 words, good night, everyone.